All right, are we good? Are we live? I think we are. Hello all and welcome back to the Women's Football Chat Live. It is a beautiful sunny morning in the United Kingdom, but our attention today is the other side of the world as the Women's Asian Cup in Australia continues. We were live on Sunday as Australia opened the tournament against the Philippines. We've seen some other live matches since then, and the tournament continues this morning as China take on Bangladesh. Should be a really interesting contest, this. We've got the most successful side in the history of the competition in China with a record 10 titles against Bangladesh qualifying for their first ever tournament, Harry. That juxtaposition should create a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, definitely so. As you say, two sides that are facing off today, but both have very different ambition. For Bangladesh, the fact that they are here today is everything. That's the achievement for Peter Butler and his side, and massive credit to them for the work they've put in to get to this tournament, and they've defied the odds, and now they get the opportunity to play against some of the best sides in the world, and China are one of those. They're a brilliant side. They've dominated this tournament. They're on a brilliant run at the moment, and they're going to take some beating, and they will hope to kick off their title defence in style. And after North Korea's win earlier today, China know they want to keep pace at the top of the group, and they won't want to slip up against a side like Bangladesh. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really, really good game. Bangladesh, you can already tell the atmosphere around the fact they're qualified is brilliant to see. But for China, they'll be hoping business as usual and see the job through.
Yeah, it's quite interesting for China because obviously they are so dominant in this continental stage, continental arena, but they haven't won any of their last 5 matches because they've been playing a lot of European teams. They played the USA, I think 3 times in that time period as well. So they've had a lot of those kind of games, but they were so strong in qualifying. We've seen a very different looking China team. They had Ante Milicic join them not too long ago, and they've definitely shifted their style from what was so successful in the past, obviously coming into this tournament as the reigning champions. So there's a lot of pressure there, but I think they have been playing some better football under Ante Milicic. They'll come into this tournament with a lot of belief. I think they look at that group stage with Uzbekistan, who got through on penalties against Nepal in the qualifiers. They'll look at the fact that they've got this Bangladesh game as well, a side who are in the competition for the first time. And I think they'll look at that group quite favourably. And that's not to write Bangladesh off. So I think there's every chance they can bridge that gap to North Korea. I think there's every chance they could get a result today. And I think they'll, I'd expect them to beat Uzbekistan. They could definitely get through then. But China are an incredibly strong team. I think they'll look at this group rather favourably.
Yeah, exactly that. I think that it is a nice group, but you look at the other sides. I mean, Japan have also got a quite nice way route through, but I think that it's important for China that they keep pace. They don't allow that complacency to come in, and they won't want to fall behind. We've already seen the host take victory. We've already seen North Korea win as well, so it will be and South Korea as well yesterday picking up a victory. So they'll be hoping China to follow suit, but as you say, they'll look at these 3 teams. They'll back themselves to beat them all. There's a good chance they walk out of this group with 9 points from 3 games, and they top the group quite comfortably. That's got to be their aim. They'll be hoping to be clear after 2 match weeks and then look to rotate in that 3rd game. So yeah, it's a nice start for China, but as you say, sometimes the nice starts can catch you out, and a team like Bangladesh have definitely got the potential to spring a surprise today and make it difficult for the holders. But they're not. They haven't just. Of course, the achievement is being here, but they haven't just turned up to spectate. They've turned up to compete. They've turned up to show they've got the quality to play in this Asian Cup, and I think that they've got a great opportunity to do that today against China.
That's exactly what Peter Butler said coming into this tournament. They're not here to be tourists. Bangladesh are a side who've put a lot of money into grassroots women's football. They've developed this team over quite a few years now, and they're in a position where they're ready to compete. They've got to this competition for the first time in their history. It is going to be a difficult group stage for them with China and North Korea, but if they can pick up a result against Uzbekistan and upset one of these big dogs, they'll put themselves in a fantastic position to qualify for the quarterfinals. Let's dive into the lineups. As with all the lineups at this Asian Cup, FOTMob can be a little inaccurate, so if there are any mistakes, do let us know. Let's start though with the designated home side, which is China. Looks like a 4-4-2 for the Steel Roses today. In goal it is Chen, a back 4 of Liu, Wu, Wang and Zhang. Across the 4 then, Zhang on the left, Wang on the right, and then a midfield partnership of Liu and Wang, and a front line of Jin and Wure Gu Mula. Interesting side then for China. Where's the big threat coming in this China team?
Well, I mean, they've got a lot of threat. They're a brilliant side. I think that Wang Shuang, again, is an incredible player, and she's a player that a lot of people would have known about before coming into the tournament, and it is definitely a massive danger for this China side. But as I say, they're a side that will cause you problems across the park. If you suffocate them in one area, they'll shift it and someone else will cause you an issue. It's very hard to keep out all the threats for China, but I think for Bangladesh, it'll be about being compact. But for China, it's a very, very good side. They'll back themselves to come and do what they've done before and win this competition. And yeah, it's a side that definitely, that 11's definitely got the quality to cause Bangladesh a lot of issues today.
Absolutely. And as for Bangladesh, it looks like a 5-3-2 then on paper. An interesting benching decision. Tahura Khatun doesn't start today's game, which I have to say I'm very surprised about. 5-3-2 though for Bangladesh. In goal, it's Akhtar. A back five then of Azim, Shamsunahar, Kandakar, Kisku and Khatun, not Tahura Khatun. A midfield three of Mama, Shakmar and Shakmar, and then a front partnership of Shamsunahar Jr. and Manda. Interesting side then for Bangladesh. Again, no Tahura Khatun. Why would they go for that today? Are they looking at perhaps get something a little bit different from this game, a little bit more transitional threat? But it does feel like they're sacrificing one of the most key attacking players.
Yeah, it's a very interesting decision. I'm surprised by it from Peter Butler. I think that it's one of those where, of course, they want to be defensive and they're gonna they know they're not gonna have much of the ball and they know that it's going to be a very difficult game and they're going to be sat deep. But I still think you need an outlet. You still need your main player to be your chance of getting forwards at some point. I think that overall I can understand the defensive setup. I think that Akhtar in goal is going to have a massive job today because she will be tested. We saw it on Sunday with McDaniel in goal for the Philippines. She had a brilliant game and kept the scoreline at only 1-0. Akhtar's going to have to do something similar today for Bangladesh. She's going to be relied upon to make saves. She's going to be tested quite often by the China front line. So she's going to need to perform and give her team a platform to build off, because the longer that Bangladesh stay in this game, the better chance they're going to have of taking something from it. But yeah, I think that across the board, it's gone quite defensive. The setup is understandable why they've gone that way, and it'll be intriguing to see how long if they can keep China quiet, and maybe they could do it for the whole 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, I feel, that they don't mix up the format of these group stages a little bit more, because what you've got is a lot of teams, or what we've had in this opening round is a lot of teams who are incredibly strong against some of the smaller sides in the competition. So we've watched a lot of similar games in this first week of the Asian Cup. But yeah, we're going to see Bangladesh sit in, much like we have seen Iran, Uzbekistan and the Philippines so far. We're going to see them sit in. If they could replicate what the Philippines did, where they had great success at shutting down Australia, stopping those balls into the box, stopping them penetrating central areas, that I feel is where they can really get those gains over China. If they can shut down Wang Shuang, that's going to be the big threat off that right-hand side. Top scorer in the last Asian Cup as China went on to win it. They can nullify the attacking threat from Wang Shuang. That gives them a great chance of getting something from this game. But, you look at Uzbekistan losing 3-0 earlier today. I watched the game yesterday as Iran lost 3-0. And for moments in those games, they were defensively solid, but there were gaps that appeared. Bangladesh have got to be more disciplined than that. They've got to sit in quite compact. They've got to make this really difficult for China. But I do think a back five aids them in that. So we'll see what happens for Bangladesh in this game. Shori pointing out there's a huge height advantage for China. Yeah, they do seem to be a considerably taller team than that of Bangladesh, but maybe they'll be able to play more technical football than Bangladesh, although China have become a much more technical side, famed really for their strength and their physicality in the Women's Asian Cup, but they have been a much more technical side under Ante Milicic. Both sets of players coming out to the field then. Malon, welcome to the stream. Shadow, welcome to the stream as well. And Lauren asking, did you guys watch the Korea versus Uzbekistan game? Unfortunately not, that was at 2 a.m. But yeah, players making their way onto the field now. So let's dive into predictions. If you're watching along to the show, let us know in the live chat your scoreline prediction. We'll make sure to read them all out before we get underway. We'll start with yourself, Harry. China taking on Bangladesh in the opening game of both sides' tournament. What's your prediction for this game?
I'm going to have to back the reigning champions, China, in this one. I think that Bangladesh, on their debut, will give a good account of themselves, but I just think that China will have too much quality. I will say China 2, Bangladesh 0. I think that it'll be quite defensively solid. It won't be anything crazy. We haven't seen any complete drubbings yet in the tournament so far. And I think Bangladesh will put up a steely resolve, but I do think eventually China will find the breakthrough. I think that it will be 0-0 going into the break, and then I will say a Wang Shuang double to win China the game in the second half to break the Bangladesh hearts. But I think it'll be a valiant effort from the debutants.
I was going to say, going against live chat there, Harry, because 73% of the poll is backing Bangladesh.
Wow.
26% then for the favourites, China. So great to see the support for Bangladesh at their debut tournament. I'm also going to have to go with the reigning champions, though. I think this China side is incredibly strong. I think their shift towards playing this more aesthetically pleasing style of play, this more possession-based style of play, has been a positive one. But I do think there is a chance that Bangladesh could get a goal. So I'm going to say China 3, Bangladesh 1. I think it will be an interesting game of football. I think it all depends on how long Bangladesh can put up with China for. Because, again, similar to the Philippines, the longer this game goes on, the better the chances that they come back into it. So, yeah, and if they can limit their goal difference, it already then gives them that advantage over Uzbekistan, which could prove really important when we're talking about qualification for the quarterfinals. A few predictions coming in then. Laurent going 7-0 China. Malon saying 3-0, as does Katikwa. And then Shori saying 5-0 China. Kondrat saying 3-0 China. So yeah, and Praveen says, how come you do Watchalong for this type of game but not for the top Liga F games? Because this is going to be competitive. And we don't know who's going to win this tournament.
That is somewhat true. But yeah, I think that this tournament is it's going to be brilliant. I think this could be the best Asian Cup we've seen so far. As you say, there's so many teams in the hat that could that could compete for the title, and I think that it makes it a very interesting tournament because you just don't know who's going to win it.
No, absolutely. I think there's so many sides in it. I said in my preview, I think it's the most open competition around, where you could realistically see China winning it. You could realistically see Australia, Japan, North Korea, South Korea. They're all sides who are in and around that conversation. So there's so many teams there with the opportunity of going deep into this competition. Even a Vietnam, I feel like they could go on a run at this tournament. They've got a really strong team and a fairly favourable group. So yeah, I think there's a lot. It's very open at the sharp end of the tournament. And I think there's also, there's 2 spots up for grabs due to the nature of this competition for third place teams. And so 2 of the sort of 6 smaller sides of the competition are going to get into the knockouts. So that's going to be 2 of Chinese Taipei or Taiwan, Uzbekistan, Bangladesh, Iran, or the Philippines. 2 of those have to get through to the next round.
Yeah.
So possibly even more if they can pull off some upsets. So I think it really does. It's a great competition for giving those underdogs a real opportunity.
Yeah, exactly that. And I'm hoping that we're going to see that in today's 90 minutes if Bangladesh can put up a good fight. But the fact they get that they're here in the tournament, the fact they're going up against the holders, I think is a great opportunity for them to really show their quality. And yeah, it's a great tournament. I think that it is set up nicely to support the underdogs, to give a smaller country a chance to do something special. And who knows, maybe that country could be Bangladesh. If they put together a good run, pull off some incredible performances, then who knows, they could find themselves in a brilliant position.
Yeah, absolutely. Laurent says the Asian Cup has to be the second best continental international trophy after the Euros. The level of technical play in this tourney is so high and good to watch. Absolutely. I think that this is such a strong technical tournament. I think what we saw before is that China dominated with a very physical and imposing style of play, but I don't think that would dominate in this edition. I think there are so many strong teams now, and we've seen China have to move away from that to an extent in order to be more possession based, in order to be a little bit more ball dominant. So yeah, I think it will be an incredibly competitive tournament. I agree it's the second best. I think the CAF, the Asian Cup, the AFCON has a great chance, but CAF just is not in a good place right now, and they can't even all get the tournament to happen at the moment. And the Copa Femenina is just dominated by Brazil. They've won, I think, 9 out of 10 editions. So yeah, that's just completely dominant. But this is such an unpredictable tournament, and we're going to see today whether China are up for the test again. Can they go back to back? Obviously, the 2 seasons before that were back to back Japan wins. China won it though in 2022 in India. Now will be looking to go back to back in Australia if they can claim the Asian Cup title on this occasion. But as we say, for Bangladesh, their opening tournament, their opening game of the Women's Asian Cup. How big a moment is this for this relatively young squad?
Oh, it's absolutely massive for them. They're history makers for their country, and that's something that not many people can say. It's very important that there will be early nerves, of course, and it's very important that they do settle down and get into the game. And as we say, the longer they can limit China, the longer they keep it at 0-0, the more the game will come towards them. But it's very much for Bangladesh. They just first 5-10 minutes get into the game, calm down a little bit, because I'm sure for the first minute or two their minds will be going 100 miles an hour because they're representing their country at the Asian Cup for the first time ever. But once they've settled down, can they keep the score at 0-0, and can they look to cause a bit of an upset to China?
Absolutely. Well, the two sides taking their positions on the field. The white of China up against the red of Bangladesh. The record and reigning Asian Cup winners against the debutants in this early Asian Cup group stage fixture. It's China to get us started. Waiting for the referee's whistle here in Sydney. And it's Jin from the middle. Knocks it back, and we're underway in this Asian Cup group stage game. China taking on Bangladesh in Group B. And it's a high turnover quickly here from Bangladesh. A poor control, though, from Manda. And that sees the play break down early there. But early signs, they could put this China team under pressure.
Absolutely. And I like the intensity they're trying to bring to this game. They're trying to move it quickly and trying to really, catch China off guard.
Yeah, absolutely. That, though, a good press there from China to force it out of play. And that will be a throw-in on the far side. China will recycle the ball. Wang goes back to Chen. Wang again. Looking wide, going to try and be more direct now. Hits it in behind for the run of Jin. And that's knocked out of play well by Kisku, who's going to have a tough job on her hands today. It's a very inexperienced, very young backline. But if they can deal with the pace of China, that could actually play to their advantage, having that pace in the backline. China win the ball high up the pitch once again. Wang tries to find Wang Shuang. That an incomplete pass, and that hasn't taken a touch of the Bangladesh, according to the lino.
Yeah, a bit of an indecisive moment there. Bangladesh will take it. But yeah, as you say, I think the pace in their backline will help them today, but they've got to work together. They've got to, the leaders have got to step up there. They've got defend as a unit, make it difficult for them, and as I say, you've got to defend together. The line has to go up together. It has to drop together. It's got to be well oiled at the back, because if one player steps up, if one player makes a mistake, it's going to cost you. But early doors here, they're using these throw-ins very well to just get themselves up the pitch.
Absolutely. That, though, picked off well, and Jin knocks it round the corner. And it's back now in the defensive line with Wu. Across into Wang, who's going to look to the right-hand side now, wants to go direct. Picked off in there well, though, by Kisku, who stepped up onto the ball. Tight midfield battle is won there by Liu. And now Bangladesh trying to progress the ball. Shamsunahar Jr. tries to slot it through. Important interception ball out to the right-hand side now for Bangladesh. That's taken a touch on its way through, but it will be picked up by Zhang, who knocks it into the Bangladesh winger and is able to pick up a throw-in for our side.
The intensity from Bangladesh is really, really good to start the game. My only concern would be that are they going to be able to keep up this intensity for 90 minutes? So that's what they've got to be careful of. But yeah, there's a real statement of intent here from the debutants.
Ball slipped through now, though, and an opportunity. Breaking to the right-hand side. Here's Jin. Can she find a teammate? Brilliant defending there. Kisku got across there, did her job, and stopped Jin being able to play a ball across the box.
Yeah, really good piece of defending, because it was a great ball, threaded through the lines. She gets back in well, gets to the ball first, makes sure to very easy in that position to come back and commit a foul, but does well to get contact with the ball and put it out for a corner.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think that's got to be their game plan. So they're up against a front two for China. If they can, because they've got that back three, if they can, the fear will be if China can find space between the centre halves, that's where they can really take an advantage. But if Bangladesh can be disciplined defensively, that could be important. Wang Shuang puts this on the goal, and it's blocked away well. Jin trying to keep it alive, cleared away by Shamsunahar. And they're not quite dealing with it here, but Shamsunahar, the number 3 in the back line, does manage to get that out for a throw.
Yeah, a little bit of let off there. The box defending's got to be stronger than that from Bangladesh. That was a little bit panicked, which was expected in the early stages, but there were 3 or 4 players there just chasing Jin after the ball. Just need to calm down a little bit in their own box.
Yeah, Wang Fang knocking that to the left-hand side. A shot then from range from Liu, just wide of the mark.
Yeah, didn't caught it quite nicely, but from that far out, wasn't going to trouble actor. And yeah, it did. To be fair, it was a lot closer than I thought it was. Just going past the far post, caught it nicely on the volley, chipped it up to herself.
I think it's almost a bounce there. It looks like it's on target, and it just seems to skid away after the bounce. Little unfortunate there for Liu. Not a bad shot. Great technique behind it. Got the power behind it. Could have caught actor out there. Ball down the left-hand side, and that's headed out of play by Liu.
These throw-ins are brilliant away from Bangladesh. They've got a lot of players who seem to be able to throw at quite a distance.
Azim into Shakmar, back to Azim. Now Shamsunahar tries to play it back across the back line, and it's one high at the pitch here by China. Breaking forwards is Zhang. Can she find a forward pass? Trying to go to the left-hand side, is strong in there, but it's good defending again from Bangladesh. Kept alive on the edge of the box. Here's an opportunity now for Zhang. Knocks it wide into Wang Shuang. Back heel into Zhang. Lovely football from China. Ball into the area, and that's dealt with. Initially shot now from Warren Gamala, and that's cleared away. Shamsunahar trying to deal with the ball. China turn it over high, though. Wang Shuang towards the back post. Shot now from Liu. Tame effort, though, and actor gets down to that one well.
Lovely football from China, knocking it around really nicely. 1-2 touch stuff, and Bangladesh just couldn't seem to keep up. There was a block there, having a look at the handball, but it's absolutely fine. Ricochets off her knee for the Bangladesh centre-half, but really good football from China, and that just shows that when they get the ball down and move it at that pace, Bangladesh are going to struggle to keep up.
Absolutely, but when they do get the ball, as Ritu Shakmar is showing here, she can really make life difficult, still holding on to it. Fantastic footwork from Shakmar. Ball trying to be slipped in behind, looking for Shamsunahar. Well intercepted by Liu. Now held up by Jin. Here's Wang Shuang, loses out in there. Great challenge from Shakmar, ball in behind. Headed away well by Wu. The biggest problem Bangladesh have got at the moment is that physical difference. You've got every ball that goes over the top, China are going to win that header.
Yeah.
Every ball into the Bangladesh box, China are favourites for the header. It's making life really difficult, but they're doing well at the moment to compete on the ground. That's a fantastic challenge from Shamsunahar, I believe that was. Recovering back in there. Oh no, sorry, Katoon. Got back in, made a big challenge, and that stopped the China attack.
Yeah, they're doing well to get the challenges in and be combative, but again, it comes back to that intensity conversation of how long can this last for Bangladesh, because they won't be able to play at this intensity for 90 minutes. They won't be able to match China's aggression for the whole game, but they're doing it at the moment, and that's what matters. And suddenly, they're 7 minutes through on their Asian Cup debut, and they're still goal. It's still 0-0.
Yeah, absolutely. Cornered out for China. Ball delivered into the air by Liu, claimed out of the air well by Actor, and she's got to be strong in those moments to claim the ball. But she does well on that one.
Yeah, really good claim. Confident goalkeeping under a bit of a challenge from Chinese players who were running towards the ball, but claimed it comfortably.
Indeed. One well in there by Shamsunahar. She can keep this in play. Bangladesh can bring it forwards, and she does so well. Chops inside, and that looked like a foul from Wang Fang, and that has been given as a Bangladesh free kick.
Yes, it's a really good battle at the moment, especially in those middle parts of the pitch, because the technical quality of Bangladesh is providing a bit of a challenge for the physicality of China. And Peter Butler is rightfully just trying to get his team to calm down because they're playing well.
Shamsunahar then looks to send the ball forwards. Header won by Wang in the back line. And now they're trying to bring the ball forwards. Held on too well by Zhang. Now Wang Fang. Back to Wang. Trying to switch the play. Trying to do just about hold on to the ball in there. Here's Wu. Wang looking forwards, wants to hit it in behind, and that's nodded on well. Wang Shuang trying to break in behind. Actor makes a bit of a mess of that, but Katoon clearing her lines well. And it drops now for Kandakar, who's going to try and hit this in behind. Something to run onto there for Shakmar. Doesn't quite come off.
Tell you what, there's been plenty of opportunities for Bangladesh to knock that ball in behind. It's a very high line for China. And although they've managed to cut out most of them, you just feel that if they can get one of those through balls through the back line, that they've got a good chance of getting in behind.
Yeah. Ball drops now for Khatoon, trying to go out towards the right-hand side. Brought down well by Shamsunahar, back towards Azim, who knocks it down the line, and that's a blatant foul from Liu, who really should go into the book for this one and does so. I mean, there is a line between aggression and what I've just watched there that definitely oversteps it.
Yeah, that's really poor, because that's what I mean. That's talking about that through ball. That's a great ball through, and yeah, it's a really naughty foul. And
yeah,
rightfully booked.
Blatant foul.
The ball is 15 yards up the pitch, and she's just cleaned her out as she's tried to spin it.
So Yatong Liu being the first player into the book, the left back there for China. Quite an egregious foul. And a chance for Bangladesh now to put this ball into the box. Trying to lay it flat in there. It will run through, and that does count as their first shot of the game, albeit a comfortable claim for Chen.
Yeah, they'll be annoyed there wasn't any runners there, because if someone can run across the goalkeeper, suddenly all it takes is a little flick to knock it past her. But yeah, they'll want to try and use free kicks a little bit better.
Clumsy collision here between Manda and Wang. Manda just down holding her neck for the moment. Let's have a look at that one again. It's just that physical difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tries to go in at the same height as the China fullback Zhang, and just gets an elbow to the throat.
Yeah. As you say, completely accidental. It's just that she's running in at the fullback's kind of shoulder height.
Yeah. Ball out to the left-hand side, or right-hand side, sorry, for China, but it's picked off by Shamsunahar. Carrying the ball forward, slips it inside now to Shakmar, who tries to poke it wide. Looked like she may have been clipped there, Manda, but wasn't given as a foul. Liu plays it forward, brought down well in there, but one back brilliantly by Kandakar. Chance now, though, as it's turned over. China coming forward, shot saved by Akhtar, kept alive here. What can Jin do with it? Lifts it over the top, shot again across the box. And they can't quite find the back of the net. Wuri Gamula broke away well, took the initial shot, had the second effort as well. Just couldn't quite find the back of the net.
Yeah, has to score, you feel. It's a really good save from Akhtar, the initial one, but the header back across the box, hitting the outside of the post and going wide. Big chance for China. Let off for Bangladesh, but a good save from Akhtar initially to keep the first effort out and parried it away from the onrushing China forwards.
I mean, yeah, fantastic goalkeeping. Makes that strong save for the first one, but I think also getting across, not only for the second shot to narrow that angle and mean that Jin has to try and dink it over, but also as it falls to Wuri Gamula, getting into position to make that very difficult for us as she tries to head back across goal and ultimately misses the target. Carrying forwards now, though, is Zhang. Knocks out to the left-hand side. Trying to be delivered into the box. Zhang again here. Needing support. Up against Azim. Cuts it back now to the edge of the box. Here's Wang Shuang trying to create the angle for the cross. Or for the shot. A shot now from range from the fullback Zhang. And Akhtar has made a bit of a mess of that one.
Yeah. I thought she did the right thing initially and she went down to claim it. And then last minute she decided that she wanted to take the touch with her feet and try and play out, and just got it all wrong and ended up kicking it out for a very needless corner.
That could have been a lot more messy, though.
It could have been. I'm not really sure. I thought she made the right... She's doubted herself a bit there. She made the right decision just to go down and pick it up. And then second-guessed herself and decided to try and use her feet and just got it a bit wrong.
I think realising they wanted to try and slow it down, so she goes down to claim it. That's got to be released within 5 seconds. If she controls with her foot, she can allow the China press, but ultimately concedes a corner where we know China can be a huge threat today. And it is Wang Shuang. And she threatened with the last. What can she do with this one? Puts it into a dangerous area, bounces in the box, and it's cleared away well by Shakmar. And a chance now. It's a foot race and an opportunity here for the Bangladesh breakaway. A shot from Shamsunahar. Oh, keeper, what a save! What a moment for Bangladesh. A shot from range that almost found the back of the net. Shakmar on the breakaway. lifts it over the goalkeeper, and Shen with a top stop.
That is incredible goalkeeping, because this effort from Shatmar deserves to go in. What a strike this is from range to try and loop it over the goalkeeper, aiming for the far corner. But that is an incredible stop. I think Shatmar can't believe she hasn't scored. What an effort that is.
Ball into the box now from Bangladesh. A low ball though, and it's cleared away well, and China will look to break. Zhang, Liu. That's a great opportunity. Ritu Shakmar showing exactly what she can do. Blast past Wang in the foot race. The shot from range is exquisite. Deserved a goal in that moment. And Shakmar on the ball again. Dispossessed by Liu. Drops in there for Shamsunahar Jr. It exchanges hands quite quickly. It falls again for Shakmar. Lifting it forwards now. And good goalkeeping from Chen. But Bangladesh are here to compete in this game.
Yeah, China aren't happy. China are really not enjoying this defensively, because Bangladesh are causing them problems when they come forwards. I can't believe that hasn't gone in.
Yeah.
Like, there is nothing more that Shatmar could have done with that one.
Yeah, ball slipped through there by Wuri Gamula. Doesn't quite come off, though, again for China. And it's back now with Akhtar.
I have to say, 15 minutes gone nearly. And really, great opportunities up both ends to find the back of the net.
Yeah. Ball turned over high at the pitch. Wang lifted over the top by Liu, and in an offside position it looks for Wang Shuang, but she's allowed to continue, and the flag does go up for offside.
Yeah, no need to delay that one. Quite comfortably in an offside position. That was really good again from Bangladesh. The whole line stepped up as one and ended up playing the China forward offside by a good couple of yards. But what a start this has been from Bangladesh.
Shamsunahar going back to Kandakar. Trying to hit this long now. And Zhang under pressure. Goes back to a goalkeeper. And it's one high here by Shakmar. And that could have been another big opportunity. Chen getting away with one there.
Yeah. Heavy touch from the back pass allowed Shakmar to have the time to pounce on it. But couldn't quite keep it in play. Smartly, the goalkeeper just ends up kicking it into her and winning a goal kick. That is another let-off for China. Bangladesh will feel like they could have taken the lead by now.
But what they're doing really effectively is putting China under pressure.
Yeah.
They've poked the dragon in this game. The question will be now whether that dragon breathes fire.
Yes.
And can they deal with that if China do come forwards and show that the quality we know they have. And China are looking to do that now. Wang Shuang, though, losing out in the middle battle, drops for Liu, looking to lift it over the top. Murigamula holding the ball up well, tries to play it inside. One back, though, well by Kisku. And they'll try and play it direct now, Bangladesh, with that ball over the top. Not able to find its intended target. What they're doing really effectively, Bangladesh, is it's a midfield two in there, and you'd think they'd get overwhelmed, but actually they are packing that midfield so effectively, because what you've got is that both wingers are tucking in quite a lot, but also the centre halves are stepping up really aggressively, which you might worry, but with a back three, you can always have one. So we're seeing Kandakar jump up into midfield. We're seeing Kisku jump up into midfield. And it's making life really difficult for China in there, who only have a midfield two themselves. So at times, it's actually China who only have two players and Bangladesh who have four or five if the wingers tuck in effectively. So, yeah, they've been so dangerous so far. Bangladesh. China coming forwards. Wang Shuang slipping it in behind. Good defending, though, from Khatoon, who knocks it out to the left-hand side. Shamsunahar. Happy to carry this ball forwards. Does overplay it a little bit, though. Here is Jin. Dispossessed. Shamsunahar getting back in, doing the defensive work, and it's cleared away well by Kisku. Wang into Wangafang. Looks to play it in behind. Well-timed run here from Wang Shuang. Can she finish it off? Overplays a little. Pivots now. Can she get the shot away? She's overplayed it and made a right mess of it. And good goalkeeping in the end from Akhtar. But Wang Shuang has 3 or 4 opportunities to release that shot and just overthinks it.
Yeah. Really should hit this early. I'm surprised the flag didn't go up, to be completely honest. I think she was in an offside position anyway. But yeah, had 2 or 3 chances to get the shot away, and then when she eventually did, she'd been crowded out and couldn't then find the target.
Yeah,
very wasteful.
But brilliant forward play there from Manda. Ball slipped to the left-hand side. It's well timed from Shakma. Can she find her teammate? Cross into the box, though. Not quite what they're looking for, but Bangladesh threaten once again.
Yeah, really good stuff again from Bangladesh, turning the ball over, moving it quickly, and just causing China a few issues. And I think that Bangladesh guys just got to keep doing what they're doing, because they're frustrating China, and there's a lot of late challenges coming in, or you know, bizarre moments where there's a heavy touch, or just in desperation China make the error.
Or like Manda there, if she wasn't so graceful on the ball, we would have seen a horrible challenge that landed on her. But she was able just to wriggle away from it as it was flown in there from one of the centres. I think it was Wu who just came flying in. But they're already on one yellow card, and we know they like this imposing style, but it does come with those risks. That they're going to risk picking up a card, potentially a red card, if they keep going in like they are. Ball over the top. Chance now for Wang Shuang, who makes that run in behind Shamsunahar. Good defending, though, from the left wing back. And she'll now look to carry it forwards. Knocks it down the line. Shakma touched a little bit loose in there and is dispossessed. And China can look to use this. Ball poked through the lines by Liu. Tidy from Jin. Can she find a teammate? Lifts it over the top. Rugamula. Chance now. Takes aim from close range. Great goalkeeping with the feet there from Akhtar. And then gets the second ball as well. And looks to feed it out quickly. Shakma. Great hold up. Needs some support now.
Again, brilliant from Akhtar. Not only the save, but she chases the flying ball down, claims it, and then immediately rolls the ball out and wants to get playing.
Azim there tried to go in behind. It's one in the air, though, by Wu, and a ball down the line, which Urigamula will get to. Tries to get around Kandakova. She gets back in there well. Really good defending from the central centre-back. Ball down the line from Azim. Will bobble its way forwards. Shamsunahar will get there. Competes in midfield. Lovely pivot from Liu. Chance now for China coming forwards. Here's Wang Shuang. Knocks it on to Zhang. Can she pick out a cross in the box? Ball in towards the area. Jin takes aim. Wide of the mark.
Yeah, again, really good football from China, and better. They're starting to get the ball down and move it nicely in that final third, and it's linking up really nicely. And again, it's a good cross, but the header from Jin was just wide.
And Akhtar looks knackered after that one. A big stop with the feet a few moments ago. And is this just trying to get some rest, or is there any injury concern here for the goalkeeper? It's an intense game, but they've done really well so far, Bangladesh. I think what we're seeing is that they're playing into the risk a little bit, because they're trying to hit that ball over the top. And if it gets in behind, as we've seen already, that's going to be threatening. You know, there is then that opportunity. If the China defenders are defending backwards, you've got the pace advantage in the front line. The problem is a lot of the time they're winning the header, and that turns the ball over too easily. But looking back at probably the best chance of this half so far, Ritu Shakma's shot from range, tipped over the bar brilliantly by the Chinese goalkeeper Chen.
Yeah, it's one for Chakma. She couldn't have hit it any more perfect. Any more on it, and it had gone over the bar itself. Any lower, and it would have been a claim. It's in the perfect spot to go in, but somehow the goalkeeper gets a touch on it to tip it over.
You just need Chen a little bit further off her line there, and you just then it lifts over her, and it's a goal.
Yeah.
But Bangladesh are threatened. I think they've made life really difficult for China so far. I think they should be immensely proud of the first 20 minutes they've had here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
maybe the poll's onto something. 614 votes away. Thank you all so much for support. 79% backing Bangladesh, 17% China, and 4% going for a draw.
Yeah, and I mean, fair enough, because Bangladesh are brilliant. You really wouldn't think that, you know, they're the ones on debut here at the moment, although they are really feeling.
I was going to say, concerns for a few Bangladesh players here. Not only is the goalkeeper down, but there's also a problem here for Kandakurt. And Peter Butler on the sidelines, looking slightly concerned that his players might not get through this game.
Yeah, that'll be a concern. I mean, and it does feel a little bit interesting that it is bang on halfway through the first 45 minutes. And now they're all miraculously okay.
But I mean, just slow the game down. Yeah. Make this difficult for China. Disrupt their flow a bit. I don't mind it. You know, it might be a little underhanded, but you've got to get an advantage somehow. Yeah. When the opposition are, you know, so much more physically imposing than yourselves, they're going to need to take those moments. Rurigamula knocks it across now. Ball in from Jin. Chance for Wang Shuang, and there's the opening goal of this game. Straight after Bangladesh take the moment of a breather, China sting them with a goal. A ball in from Jin, headed home by Watchalong, and Bangladesh hearts broken as China finally break the deadlock. Watchalong with her first goal of the tournament.
Yeah, the hero in the last edition of the Asian Cup is popping up again for China. It's a lovely move, and she's offside.
Does she go too early there? That'll be the question. Looks to be in offside position. We do have VAR in this competition. I think this might be about to be chalked off.
Yeah.
It would explain why she got there so far ahead and why she's fairly muted in these celebrations.
Yeah, and this would be a bit of a lifeline for Bangladesh, who have played well so far. Again, it was a nice move, but yeah, I don't think this is going to stand.
So VAR are checking, and it's fairly slam dunk on offside. She's either gone too early or not, and I think even Watchalong realises there she may have gone too early, barely celebrated the goal, and looks fairly dismissive there as VAR are checking it. I mean, if you ever want to try and deceive the referee as to whether it was a goal or not, Watchalong's not doing a great job of that.
Yeah, but it did just look to the naked eye that she'd gone too early. And yeah, as a player, you will know if you've gone too early.
Most, try and pretend they haven't.
That is true.
Watchalong being brutally honest, really, in her body language, but we'll find out in a moment whether or not she has gone too soon. It did just look like she crept into an offside position. Bangladesh held their line well.
And they've held it well all game. Yeah, it's been a couple of times now where they've stepped up really nicely and caught the China front line offside.
Yeah. Green said Asian Cup not competitive either, sadly. I think it's very competitive. We're not going to see any 12-1s in this competition. And this is, we're seeing here a side who are the most successful team in the Asian competition are struggling here to create opportunities to have those chances against a side who've never been at this competition before in Bangladesh. So evidently a very competitive competition, and I'm not sure why the VAR decision is taking so long here. But hopefully we'll have a conclusion shortly, because we haven't seen any replays, but what we saw from the initial replay is that it's very unlikely this goal will stand. Looked like she just crept beyond the last defender.
Yeah. Got so used to semi-automated offside, it's now annoying when they have to draw the lines on. I think the referee needs a break, though. She's just quite tired.
Yeah, this has been fairly end-to-end, to be fair.
It's been a great game. Really good game of football. And I think it's going to remain level for the time being.
Which I think, objectively makes for a more interesting game as this continues.
Oh, definitely.
I think if China score, it does just take the sting out of the Bangladesh fight a little bit. And still on the pitch, left wondering what the result will be from this VAR check. And now the referee is headed to the monitor.
Oh, well, that's interesting. So what are they trying to...
Are they checking whether there's a foul in the build-up? Or there's an offside in the build-up, but there's also an offside directly towards the goal.
Why would
the referee be looking at this?
I have no idea what's happening here.
I don't really understand why the referee is involved.
So that comes off Bangladesh player, but that's not the one that they're looking at. Sorry, why are they looking at this one?
Really confusing.
I think they're looking at the wrong offside. So yeah, that comes off a Bangladesh player, so that would mean that in the build-up there's not an offside, but that's not the one they're looking at. They're looking at this one.
Now they'll play it through and realise...
You don't need to look at all of them. Just... I'm really confused as to why they're showing the referee this. It has nothing to do with the goal.
Unless they've checked the other one and they're deciding whether or not she's played the ball here. But it looked like Watchalong was off in the immediate goal-scoring phase. I don't know why we're having to pull it back and look at this.
I mean, this is ridiculous. The goal went in 3 minutes ago. That's it. Play it through, and then realise that she... No!
Oh, they cut it so early. Let's remind us there's match stats on the AFC if you're interested. I will look those up.
Oh, we're going to get a decision. I have no idea what the decision's going to be, though.
All right, coming back to the field then. And decision is offside. So after all of that, the correct decision we feel has been made there. The China goal disallowed for offside. It remains China 0, Bangladesh 0. But it took us 4 minutes there to reach such a conclusion we reached within, I think, 4 seconds.
Well, it's the right decision, but they've come to the right decision looking at the wrong clip, I think.
I don't know why they've looked at that, because surely they know the other bit's offside, so that doesn't matter. Either way, I'm very confused as to what was going on with the refereeing there. But we play on now as China coming forward to Wang Shuang into Zhang, looks down the line, strong from Sham Sunaha, who will claim she was fouled there, but it has gone out for a China throw.
Yeah, expect a lengthy additional time now. We had that long VAR break there, and obviously we had a good couple of minutes with Akhtar and other Bangladesh players down with injuries. So I'm expecting to get at least 4 or 5 minutes added on at the end of this first half.
Yeah.
Oh, again, that Bangladesh pressure is causing China some problems, but they've managed to get out of that nicely.
Ball over the top. An opportunity now for Wuri Gamula, who gets it off Shamsunahar. Can she find the cutback now? Needs the supporting cast to emerge. Ball across the box into the front post. And that goes out for a goal kick.
Yeah, I guess not a bad ball off the... Yeah, didn't take a touch, I don't think. And just going out for a goal kick. Yeah, I think the problem for Bangladesh will be is that they have only had one shot. And that shot was the effort from range. Great effort. Should have gone, very unlucky it didn't go in. But they need to start doing more when they turn it over. And they'll be wanting to try and get some more shots away. But it's just that final ball. They need to start being able to get through the back line.
Yeah. Zhang knocks it down the line. Wang Shuang dispossessed in midfield. And Shamsunahar will send that forwards. Ball in behind. A chance now for Shakmar again. Trying to find Shamsunahar. Can't quite pull it off. One back now in midfield. Kisku battling away in there. Does manage to keep possession. Here's Shakmar. Knocks it forwards. Touched on again. Looking for Ritu Shakmar. One back though by Liu as we hit the half an hour mark.
Yeah, again, it's Bangladesh are doing really well at making it scrappy in the first 2/3 of the pitch. Well, if China get it into the final third, that's where they cause problems. But it's if Bangladesh can just keep the ball in the China half, that's where I think that China are having quite a few problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Bangladesh pressing here up against China. Wu, though, carries it forwards. Now Liu. Here's Wang. Looking to be more direct, switching it to the left-hand side. Ball looped forwards there and claimed easily by Akhtar. Shamsunahar knocking the ball forwards, trying to go down the line. That bounces out of play, though, and out for a China throw. Now let's move to the left-hand side. Here's Wang Efang. Liu plays it across into Wang Shuang, who slips it through the lines, picked off well by Kisku. Kandakar trying to play forwards now at Bangladesh. But that felt like the wrong pass for Wang Shuang. There was so much space to the left-hand side. Great hold up here. Up front from Mama. Ball into the box, and that's cleared away well. Still alive here with Azim. Tries to cross it back in. Picked off, though, by Liu. And now here's Wang Shuang, and they'll look to come forwards. Carrying it up the pitch, out towards the left-hand side, where Gamula has pulled wide. Looks to take on Khatoon. Wriggles her way through and manages to cross it in, but there's no one there. And so Shamsunahar, the left wing back, picks up the ball. And an offside flag follows either way on Wuri Gamula.
Yeah, thought it was when she initially picked up the ball. Yeah, it was. Again, yeah, they're just struggling a little bit, China, to time that run. Again, it's really good defending from Bangladesh. Again, watching back the goal here. Yeah,
So far offside.
I know, so far offside, but they didn't even look at that bit. I'm just glad they got the right. I mean, I don't know how they managed to get offside from the clip they watched, but yeah.
That's what I just don't get. Because why, unless you've cleared Wang Shuang's onside, why are you looking back at that earlier clip? Because that might be true that there was an infraction in that position, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, very confusing. Wu. Zhang. Going back now into the goalkeeper Chen, who looks to switch the play. And that does drill it into Wang Shuang, who's carrying the ball forwards now, lifting it over the top. Great ball into Jin. Can she find a shot at goal? Takes aim from a tight angle. Actor does really well there to make the save. But what Bangladesh are making really difficult for China is to get shots in a central area. They're forcing the strikers wide, so they're shooting from angles like that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's one of those where even when China have got through like that, they haven't been they haven't found themselves in brilliant positions. They've got a lot of shots away, but Akhtar's only been, has made a couple really good saves, but yeah, they've not been too dangerous.
Indeed. Sham Sunahar trying to hit that more direct, looking for the forward run of Sham Sunahar. Cleared away by Chen. And out again for a Bangladesh throw. 11 minutes from the half, and what an achievement it would be to get to half-time without conceding in this game, Bangladesh. And another injury here as it's Ritu Shakmar down with a slight problem with their left leg.
Yeah, they're feeling it a lot. And that is, it's the third player to go down with feeling something in their knee.
It'd just be the intensity.
Yeah.
Not used to running this hard, not used to working this hard. I'm sure there'll also be an aspect of trying to slow this game down, of course. I don't think it's all entirely sporting, but there's evidently something, a problem here for Ritu Shakmar, who has to go off for treatment. They'll be hoping it's not for too long, because it would leave them in a tough spot here if they're down to 10.
Yeah.
They've got to make that call quickly if she's all right to continue, or if she needs to be taken off. I still don't know why we're looking back at the earlier clip and not just at this one where Wang Shuang is obviously offside.
Yeah.
That feels quite easy for me, but VAR made a meal of it. But either way, they came to the right decision in the end. That's all we can take from it. China looking to play to the left-hand side. Here's Liu. Now Wu out towards Zhang, who looks down the line, tries to clip it inside instead, and that's headed away well. Drops now, and that's lifted over the top, and it would have been offside again for Wang Shuang, but she doesn't get to the ball, and Actor out to it well. Decision-making's been a real problem for China. So many times, like that ball, just slip it down the line. Instead, it's lumped into the box.
Yeah.
Fairly needlessly. There's been a lot like that. Wang Shuang trying to lift that ball over the top a lot of the time, or players trying to lift that into Wang Shuang rather than knocking it wide, rather than trying to find a better situation. I think they're trying to be too cute, too clever about it.
Yeah.
And they just got to knock it wide, stick it in the box, and put it in the back of the net.
Yeah.
Like, I think they are just overcomplicating a little bit by trying to be really aesthetic. Because not even like that's a thing of possessional play. You'd often expect that it could be quite slow and static. They're moving the ball really quickly, and that's effective. Yeah. And then they get to the final third, and we're just seeing some really weird decision making, but also some really weird timing of runs and really weird movement. And that's just what's allowing Bangladesh off a little bit. I mean, their defensive work's been fantastic, and they've made life really difficult for China. But China are overcomplicating it for themselves.
Yeah.
Ball forwards, assertive defending from Khatoon. Drops in midfield. Shakmar hooking it towards the right-hand side. Sham Sunahar gets the nod on. And now out to the right-hand side from Manda. Looks down the line, and that's picked off in there by Liu. Ball down the line. Doesn't quite come off. And that will be a China throw. I think Liu almost making it apparent that it shouldn't have been as she ran away from it.
Yeah.
Liu. And that's a foul throw, and so it will be a Bangladesh throw after all of that. Ball thrown down the line. Tries to get the nod on there. Sham Sunahar doesn't quite come off, and it's picked off by Liu in midfield. Wang into Wang Shuang, who pivots nicely on the ball. Great turn, and she'll carry this forwards now. Able to be a real threat. Plays it across to Jin. who's just a little too deep here. Too many players to get past. And Kisku now can carry this ball forwards for Bangladesh. Knocks it to the left-hand side. Ritu Shakmar trying to switch the play quickly. Right idea, just doesn't quite come off. One high, though, by Shakmar. That's out of play, though, for a China throw.
Again, really positive football from Bangladesh, turning the ball over and looking to run at China, cause some problems.
On this near side, then, is Zhang looking down the line. And throws inside now. Nice turn from Liu. Pass towards the left-hand side. Great work here from Liu, the fullback, to get to it. Now looks to put it into the box. Good ball towards Wang Shuang. The touch is a little heavy, though. Knocks it back to the supporting cast. Here's Zhang trying to make something happen. Runs it out of play, though, and that will be a goal kick.
Yeah, again, really well defended by Bangladesh. They're doing very well to just... Because although China are getting into good positions, they're not being able to do anything with it. And part of that does come to Bangladesh just doing very well to make it difficult for them. And to just, although it's in a good position, they can't really seem to work it goalwards. I think you have 6 minutes now for Bangladesh to get into the half-time break at 0-0 would be a fantastic achievement.
Yeah, of course. They've done so well in this game. They've frustrated the reigning champions. If they can continue in this fashion, well, they're going to have a very strong tournament. Out towards the right-hand side now for China. Ball lifted forwards. Wang Shuang brings it down. That is a handball, though. And that will be given as a Bangladesh free kick. Again, that's clumsy. It's clumsy from Wang Shuang, who I think has struggled to be the leader in this game. There's been a fair bit of that at the moment for China, just not quite coming off in the final third.
Yeah, that's the thing. That they've got talented players, they're driving it forward, they're moving it nicely, but when it's coming down to actually putting the ball in the back of the net, no one seems to be really stepping up in that aspect.
Zhang heads away, the ball lumped forwards, dropped now for Shakmar, who's going to take a go from range, and that whistling past the far post.
Yeah, that was an ambitious effort, but again was quite close to the target. Seen wide, though, by the China goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think trying to emulate the almost heroics of her namesake there. But yeah, I mean, great pressure again there from Shamsunahar. Forced the issue. That's a really poor pass from Wang. And now Bangladesh will throw in on the right-hand side, high up the pitch. Ball goes down the line, nodded on, looking for Shamsunahar. Runs out of play, and that will be a corner. And China furious here. Not 100% sure who that came off there, but China adamant it wasn't one of their players.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with China there. I'd like to see a replay.
But great work from Marma, the number 9, just making life difficult.
Yeah. Well, they've got a corner here, Bangladesh, but they haven't really put very many players in the box.
I don't mind that, though, because they're not going to win a header.
That is true.
They're not going to win an attacking header. They're going to put it into the area and see what they can do. But it's headed away. Drops now on the edge. Can Commander fashion a shot? Not quite. Goes back now to Shamsunahar, who wants to deliver it in there. Trying to switch the play. Right idea. Headed away by Zhang. Now Azim knocking it back down the line. Commander, can Shakmar get there? Which is fouled, really, by Liu. But it's out of play either way. For a Bangladesh throw high at the pitch.
Again, this is really nice.
Azim takes it quickly, can't quite loop it in there. And China have possession in their own third, cleared away by Liu. And they can't quite win it in midfield. Jin now feeds the right-hand side. Wang Shuang knocking it in behind. This is a great opportunity. What can they do with the ball in the final third? Not quite coming off there, though. Great defending again from Kandakar. Now Kisku carries forwards. Azim can't shift out of her feet. Kandakar choosing the easy option there, smashing that away.
Yeah, again, it's no-nonsense defending. They're getting the basics right, Bangladesh, and they're doing really well. And as I say, we're only a couple minutes away now from that half-time whistle.
Picked off high up the pitch here. What can they do with the ball? It's Shakmar again, who could look to shoot from range. It's a comfortable play from Chen. If she pulls this off at this tournament, it's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, I love the fact that she just keeps it.
Mando on that. All three midfielders now have had a shot from range.
And why not, hey? You never know.
Drive inside here from Zhang, slipping it through towards Wang Shuang, who's got the angle now, and she's going to try a shot from range. And that is incredible from Wang Shuang. Picks up the ball and buries it in the far left corner. An absolutely exquisite strike. And Bangladesh, for all their hard work, could do little to prevent that one. The ball played forwards quickly. Wang Shuang, a shot of the highest quality. And China lead now in this game by a goal to nil.
Well, her first one didn't count, but this one definitely will count. What a strike this is from Wang Shuang. Nothing that actor could do about that one. Catched it really nicely. She's given too much space that far out. And just looks to just lift it into the top corner. It's a brilliant strike. And China finally have the lead that they've been looking for.
Yeah, Bangladesh have worked so hard. We did wonder whether they would run out of steam in that moment. Just couldn't quite move quick enough to keep up with China. It has moved quickly in the final third. Wang Shuang picking up the ball. So Bangladesh looking to hit back immediately. Mama feeding it to Shamsunahar on the right-hand side. Back to Mama. Now into Manda in support. Knocks it to the right-hand side. Azim inside to Manda again. Trying to play it forwards. Great carry here from Manda. If she can find a teammate, it's blocked away. And China now can look to break. And try and extend their newfound advantage. Liu. Wang Shuang. Across to Liu. Out towards the left-hand side. And a smart decision as everyone in the front line there for China seem to be offside. And we've got 7 minutes of additional time in this first half. Lengthy stoppages. Multiple injuries for Bangladesh and, of course, the VAR check for China's disallowed goal.
This is going to be really testing because Bangladesh look really, really tired.
Yeah. Ball towards the left-hand side. Hard work here from Urugumula. Manages to take on Azim. Now needs support. Ball into the area. Actor pushes it away. Liu now. Low shot is blocked. Shot out from Zhang and it goes in. And Bangladesh, valiant for 40 minutes, are crumbling now. A quick fire double from China. And it's China 2, Bangladesh 0. And you can just see the wind has been knocked from their sails. Not quite able to keep up with China. A low driven effort into the bottom corner. Couldn't be kept out by Kandakar. And China now lead by 2-0.
Yeah, they've run out of steam, Bangladesh, and for China it's so easy. Players just can't get back in for Bangladesh, and this really should be stopped. It's a low-driven effort. There's two defenders that definitely could have got a block on it. But it somehow finds its way into the bottom corner. But no one can get out to these long shots. I mean, VAR having a look at something in here.
Was it an offside in the build-up there? Urugumula has been caught offside quite a few times in this game. I imagine that could be the only infraction as Bangladesh had players scatter across their goal line for the other two shots.
Yeah.
So I think that would be the only question.
But yeah, it's just one of those where I said, with the VAR check and then the... you'll see the injuries for Bangladesh. They've just, we've got into this additional time. They've just ran out of steam, and it's going to count.
Goal does stand then, so China double their advantage to 2. It's a shame. Bangladesh worked so hard for 40 minutes, but ultimately just don't quite have the stamina. And you can see they're running ragged now as we are approaching half-time. They need to get in at the break, keeping it at this score if they want to keep the scoreline respectable, really. In this game, they came and tried to play against China. It's admirable. And to be fair, for 40 minutes, they competed pretty much head-and-head with China. But ultimately, we're in the 47th minute now, and it's 2-0 to the Steel Roses.
This is where game management's got to come in. They are tiring. You've got 5 minutes left of the additional period, so just drop everyone a bit deeper. Because at the moment, they're still trying to play, and players are just getting caught high at the pitch because they can't run back in. Just be smart about it and drop, because now this ball's gone long from China and it's taken 4 Bangladesh players out of the game.
Yeah, you just need to slow the game down. Ball slipped in behind. Jin makes the run. Shamsunahar tries to get back in there. Kisku intervenes. And a good challenge. And now Bangladesh will look to break. Shakmar holds on to it well. Has Ritu Shakmar down the line. Has Shamsunahar behind her. Still carrying the ball though in this position. And Shamsunahar comes into deal as Shakmar loses possession.
Yeah, I think Shakmar there was just trying to win a free kick because that just gives an opportunity to take the pace out of the game. Wasn't given. Yeah, you just worry that China could get another goal in this additional time and completely kill this game off.
Zhang into Wang Shuang. Ball lifted forwards. And well, I think that was quite an obvious offside there. But players had to continue. Another flag does go up.
Yeah. And again, this will be a good time just for Bangladesh to take the pace out of the game. No one should be running towards the ball.
Yeah, that Wang Shuang goal, almost carbon copy in terms of goal assist and goal scorer, or exact carbon copy in terms of assist or goal scorer. It's the one that was disallowed. And then Ruby saying the midfielder, finding the target with her effort. Should have been blocked really on the line by Kandaka. But China won't mind how it goes in. Ball lifted towards the right-hand side. Wang Shuang now. She can keep this in play. Does well. Good defending from Shamsunahar. And that has gone off the field initially, and that will be a goal kick.
Yeah, flags up again. There's another offside. China are really struggling to time these runs. I mean, Bangladesh, of course, it's a well-held line, but China really need to improve on just holding back because they've got the pace advantage. I'm not really sure why they are going, so early.
Drops now in midfield for Bangladesh. Manda under pressure. Loses out and the gaps are just appearing too big. Wang Shuang trying to carry that ball forwards. Everyone for China there was offside. So didn't have any option to pass it to. Trying to carry to the right hand side now. Shamsunahar just not able to get around Zhang. Ball played forwards. Cleared away by Kisku. Azim knocks it down the line. Drops in midfield. Nodded on towards Liu, who's contesting it in there, and there is an obstruction. And that will be a China free kick.
Haven't seen that given in a while.
No. But Katoon sitting on the ball, not allowed.
Yeah, they're just struggling to contain China right now. They've got to get through this next minute without conceding.
Yeah, China have upped the intensity as well. I think is a key aspect. It's not just Bangladesh dropping off. We're seeing them press a lot more aggressively. And that Bangladesh midfield is now struggling, especially in possession, because China just seem to be putting a lot more players in central areas to try and hurt Bangladesh. Wang Shuang's over this. Bangladesh trying to sort a wall here. And they're going for 5 players. Will that be enough to stop the dead ball specialists? Wang Shuang, one of the best free kick takers in the AFC. And this, not a bad range for her. Wang Shuang steps up, takes aim. Akhtar does well. A comfortable stop in the end. And does well not to spill it into oncoming Chinese support. Shakmar feeds the left-hand side. Here's Shamsunahar. Shakmar. One high up the pitch. Rugamula plays it across. Chance now for 3. And that's a big miss. And that really would have capped off this first half. An opportunity for Liu. Just couldn't find the target.
Yeah, should have hit the back of the net, really. Lovely football again from China. Full store on the edge of the area. It was a lot of space to use. And, yeah, should have really hit the target.
Here's Ritu Shakmar. And still time to play in this game. Of course, there was a VAR check within this additional period. And it's at the referee's discretion as to when this time has run its course. That ball over the top, though. Tricking out of play for Amama. And China with the goal kick.
You can't imagine there'd be too much added on. But yeah, I think that it'll be frustrating for Bangladesh to concede, 2 goals in such quick, in quick succession. Said it on Sunday about the Philippines. I thought they did really well once they conceded that first goal to just hang in there and stay in the game and keep it at 1-0. And obviously they went on to only lose by a goal to nil. But Bangladesh will be frustrated there to the fact they conceded one goal straight after another.
Yeah, that is the half-time whistle here in Sydney. China 2, Bangladesh 0 goals from Watchalong and Ryu Zhang, the difference makers thus far. It was a valiant 43 minutes from Bangladesh, who really competed neck and neck with China. They had opportunities. The best shot of that period was Ritu Shakmar's attempt from range, which almost caught out Shen in the China net. But outside of that, it was an even contest, but neither side really able to create anything of clear-cut description. A goal for China, which was disallowed, and then as we got to the 44th minute, it did just start to come alive for them. And at the break, they do lead by 2-0 with that quick-fire double on the stroke of half-time.
Yeah, a very mixed half. Lots of different feelings coming out of it, but overall, it's a brilliant half for China. They find themselves 2 goals to the good, and enjoying this game at the moment. But the scoreline really doesn't tell how that first half went, because for 20-25 minutes, it was a brilliant contest, and then slowly but surely, as the half went on, Bangladesh just seemed to fade away. China seemed to get stronger and stronger, and those two things combining is the reason that China lead at the break. I mean, 2 goals in 2 minutes is very strong if you're China, but very disappointing if you're Bangladesh. But yeah, I think that a half that for the most part was deservedly level, and as I say, it was kind of just that late blast at the end that has put China in a very, very good position. But yeah, been a very, very enjoyable contest to watch. Been a really, really good game. Great to see Bangladesh turn up on their debut and compete. And overall, it's been a really good game of football.
I think what we're seeing is just a Bangladesh side who don't have the physicality or the stamina to compete with China in any way. I think what we saw in that first half is that they ran out of steam quite quickly. And they had those breaks, and that was really important as they just slowed the game down a little bit, where the goalkeeper went down and Shakmar went down as well. And those just allowed them to prolong it, I think. But it shouldn't be any surprise. This China team, the Chinese domestic league is much stronger. I think we're seeing that difference now because these players are used to playing very competitive football week in, week out, whereas that's just not true for these Bangladesh players. China have players like Wang Shuang, who have obviously played in Europe for the likes of PSG and Tottenham in her case. But yeah, quite simply, we're seeing a side here who just aren't physically fit enough. I think the technical quality on display for Bangladesh has been fantastic. I think what we've seen is some really, really gifted technical players, but it's just the physicality that's been the difference. Really, is that China are able to compete for those challenges, and while early on Bangladesh were matching them really in duels, that has faded away, and we've started to see China impose themselves a lot more. They're quicker, they're faster, they're stronger, and they're fitter, and that's making the difference at the moment. I think if it was just about the technical side of the game, as we saw in the first 40 minutes, this would be a really even contest. But as they've tired in this game, it has become a little bit more sloppy. Gaps have opened up a little bit more, and they're struggling to win their duels. Yeah,
really, it's been really, really difficult, as you say. I think that they have tired both mentally, but also physically. They're feeling the effects of the combativeness of China. We're seeing a lot of players come off second best in those physical challenges, and second best as in losing the ball, but also second best as in feeling the effects afterwards and end up picking up an injury or feeling a knock. And yeah, they've been pushed around. To be fair, China, they are a very, very physical side. It's on the border of the law, to be completely honest. I think that for most part, it's just a combative element of the game. Sometimes they have overstepped the mark and have got away with a couple in there. But yeah, China are a very, very aggressive side. They've made things very, very difficult. And as you say, it's that experience, of playing in a higher quality league against high quality players that you have to raise that physical element of your game. And Bangladesh just can't seem to match that at the moment. And that's a big problem in football. When you're not winning duels, you're going to put yourself you're going to be at a disadvantage. You see it when players lose individual battles. That's usually like a weakness. But when your whole team is losing out on duels, it's very difficult to get your side into the game. But they've had their moments, to be fair to Bangladesh, and they have managed to come forwards. And as you say, I think that with the technical quality that they do possess, and with some of the football they've played, it's been absolutely brilliant. playing out, playing through the lines, 1-2 touch stuff, moving it through. A team like China has been really impressive, and if they had the physicality to match, then they could probably, they'd be absolutely in this game. But yeah, it's just a shame that they seem to tire, and maybe 7 minutes added on there really didn't help their cause. But yeah, they battled really well. They had a couple of half chances from range to get a goal themselves, but I think they'd have liked to have challenged more in the final third. But overall, the football's been really good, and to say they're on their debut, you have to hats off to them, because they've played really, really well.
It's also, I think, what we expected to see today was perhaps that the discipline wasn't there, but that's absolutely been there, and that's, I think, a huge compliment for such a young side. They don't have a single player in their starting 11 today older than 24.
Wow.
The majority of their players are under the age of 20. It's a ridiculously young team, and they've built up this grassroots team, and they've all come through, and they are all stronger than their predecessors. So that's why we're seeing this now. But to expect them to come in and immediately be the finished article is unrealistic. But what we are seeing is a very talented young team come in and compete with a very experienced China team. And this Chinese team has, majority of their players are peak age players between the ages of about 28 to 31. So we're seeing a very experienced side against a very youthful side, and that wouldn't have been apparent, I don't think, for large parts of that first half. So huge compliments to Bangladesh. Hopefully this is a platform for their players to go and get those moves they deserve, to go and move to some of those stronger leagues where they can develop as players. Because I think there's some huge talents here. I mean, Ritu Shakmar's got to be one that clubs are looking at, depending on divisions, but got to be one that clubs are looking at. There's other players, Shams Sunahar, I think the fullback and the winger have both impressed me. Yeah. I've been impressed with pretty much the whole team. They've done incredibly well. So much tactical discipline. I think Peter Butler will be remarkably proud of what they managed to do for the first 40 minutes. We just saw at the end of the half, though, the gaps opened up. And, I mean, if you look at both those goals, the thing which ties them both together is that they're shots from range under little pressure.
Yeah.
No, they just can't quite get back in there, because as we see here, it's the ball in from China. It's the second goal. Akhtar comes out to deal with it, and no one puts any pressure on that first shot. And then the second shot, absolutely no one puts any pressure on it. And as much as it should be blocked on the line by Kandikar, you've got to get out to that. You've got to narrow the angle. You've got to make that difficult. They're just tired, and that's ultimately what led to their downfall. But hopefully they can come out in the second half and continue to give a good account of themselves, because I don't think this is a 2-0 game as it stands. And I think it would be a real shame if this was to get to 3, 4, 5-0, because I don't think that would be a fair reflection on the fight which Bangladesh put up in the first half, for most of the first half. But ultimately, they did just run out of steam at the end of that first 45. Changes, though, could reinvigorate this side, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. I think Peter Butler has got to be sharp with his changes, like we saw from the Philippines. Get the changes in early, predict what's going to happen, and get ahead of what China are going to do. Bring on your fresh legs, potentially a little bit earlier, so that you get that advantage and that you don't end up being caught out when players are tiring and you end up conceding another couple. That second goal as well, I didn't even notice it in real time, but it did take a nick on the way through, and I think that just took it away from the defender on the line. But yeah, a difficult one for Bangladesh. They'll be frustrated. I think that, I know that Peter Butler wouldn't want to change the way he was playing, but I think he could have noticed there that they were tiring and just got them to bring the intensity down, because the main problem was at the end there was that the front four were still chasing and being aggressive, but because they were tired, they'd get played through, and the rest of the team hadn't gone with them because they were tired, and the front four wouldn't get back in, and there'd be so much space. I think that as a manager, you've got to notice that and just tell your front four to drop. Sit deep. There were 8 when the first goal went in. At that point, there were 8 minutes left of the half.
I think before the first goal.
Yeah,
you've got to realise that on 40 minutes, where you go, well, there's 5 minutes left here. Yes, it's probably added time, but actually, let's just dial it down, because we can see the team are tiring. China was starting to come forwards with a bit more consistency. I think it should have been an earlier call there. But again, it's a very inexperienced team, and that's not just the players on the pitch, it is the coaching staff as well. This is their first major tournament, I believe, since it is their first major tournament ever, but since Butler's come in. So yeah, it is an inexperienced setup, but I think they're definitely building something incredibly positive. I think for China, it wasn't the first half of dreams, but they did cap it off fairly well. I think that there will be some concerns over the level of this China team. I think against stronger opposition, they've been incredibly physical today, but they're playing against a side who are, there's not a single player that's anywhere near as tall as the Chinese team. And so they're just able to be that physical team. But when you're playing against Australia or Japan or North Korea, is that going to be the same case? Or are they going to struggle a little bit more? Are they too reliant on that physicality?
Yeah, potentially so. It'd be very interesting to see that group game against North Korea, and then obviously depending if they get through to the knockouts. But I think the thing for China in this game is exactly what we said about Australia on Sunday, is that it's not been perfect, but they're getting the job done. I think Australia, they weren't brilliant, but they won their opening game, got 3 points on the board. That's exactly what China have done today. They've not had it all their own way. Bangladesh made it very difficult for them. For 40 minutes, it was an even game. They got 2 goals at the end of the half, and now they're in in a really good spot in this game. But we know they haven't hit their best yet. They are, they're just getting the job. They're seeing the job through, and that's what matters. They're getting the points on the board. But as you say, it'd be interesting to see where is that level. How much better does their performance get from this game? And that will be the big test, because if it doesn't improve much, then I don't think they'll have the beating of the biggest sides in this tournament. But if they've still got loads of gears to go through, then maybe that's something to be very, very excited about. So it'll be very interesting to see to see where the level is at for China. But overall, I do think that today they're getting the job done, but the performance hasn't been incredible.
Yeah, indeed. Both sets of players, both sides of the players out to warm up. Not sure that's any indication of changes though, because it doesn't feel that anyone's wearing a bib out there, which is a little bit confusing. But yeah, I don't think that's any intention. Obviously, the heat is probably the reason no one wants to wear a bib.
Yeah.
But yeah, just make it a little confusing out there.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see changes for Bangladesh though. I think that would make a bit of sense. You've got some decent players on that bench. Maybe just make 1-2 changes at half time just to freshen things up a bit and make sure that because now important for Bangladesh is that first 5-10 minutes needs to be very, very solid. Can't afford to concede again. Just try and carbon copy the first half. Keep yourself in the game. Don't concede. Keep it at 2-0. Maybe nick a goal. Who knows? And then obviously it could then fall away towards the end. But worry about that later. Just try and, if they can play another brilliant 35-40 minutes, and they'll walk off this pitch with a very respectable scoreline.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been. I think get Tahura Khatun on there.
Mm-hmm.
Give someone for them to a bit of fresh legs in the front line. Someone who can hold the ball up. Maybe you wait 10 minutes though. You've still got, I think, some life in that front line, and if they can, delay that, then it makes it easier to manage this game. I think the problem is if they make too many changes at half time, they'll put themselves in a position where in 20 minutes they're going to be wanting to make changes again.
Yeah.
And I think that would just put them in a tough spot. So provided that because they've had this 15-minute break now, they can just come out and give another 20 minutes of their all, and then you make changes. Then you try and change the game a little bit. I think that'll be a better way to try and manage this game, really. I don't think 5 changes at half-time or anything like that would work. But Lloyd, welcome or goodbye. He says, unfortunately, I have to go to work, but a big thanks to Harry and Jack for covering these matches. Thank you, Lloyd, for tuning in for the first half, and have a fun day at work. That is the big shame of a tournament like this. It's you've either got the games that are really early, in which case you don't really want to get up before work, or the games that are on while you're at work, which, depending on your job, can be great. If your job is to watch women's football, it's fantastic because it's pretty easy to do. But or you've got an office job, you can just put it on the corner or something and hope your boss doesn't notice. But might be a little bit more difficult depending on your job. But yeah, this has been a really competitive game. I think it's a shame again about the scoreline, as I think it could be tighter than this. I hope Bangladesh get a goal. We haven't seen any of the smaller sides get goals yet. I think the games tomorrow will be interesting. I think that game between Vietnam and India will be much tighter than the games we've seen so far.
Yeah.
I don't think Chinese Taipei, unfortunately, is going to be as tight. I think that will be more comprehensive, really, for Japan. But yeah, it'd be nice to see one of the smaller sides in this competition get a goal at least.
Yeah, exactly that. Their fans can go home with something to celebrate. And if Bangladesh can turn up at this tournament and say, we competed with the reigning champions of the Asian Cup, we came in, we got a goal against them, we put up a good fight, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. The only change, it appears, is coming for China. I know there will be a double change for Bangladesh. So we'll cover all of those. I believe it's Zong Meiji on for China going into midfield. A double change coming for Bangladesh. And that is Tahura Khatun. And this is an exciting substitution. The attacker who was so pivotal for them getting through to this competition. Her goals throughout the qualifiers guided them towards their first ever Asian Cup appearance. Now she's on to face China in this second half. The other change of midfielder, Halma Akhtar, coming in to midfield. So we'll work out who they've replaced and what's happening there in just a moment. You'd imagine it'd be like for Khatun for Mama in the front line. Other than that, it looks like the same shape for Bangladesh. As for China, you'd think it should be like for in midfield. I'm not sure who was replaced. Bangladesh then get us back underway in this second half. China leading here in Sydney by 2-0. Can they see out the victory, or can Bangladesh pull off a comeback surprise? Well, early on, China trying to hit them direct. That's cleared away well by Kandakar.
Yeah, again, Bangladesh, as I say, got to pick up where they left off for the majority of the first half. Be assertive, be aggressive, and look to cause China some problems. Defend solidly and look to come forwards aggressively.
Shatmar, Khatun trying to make that run in behind. Shatmar thinking better of it, does now go from range, and this the worst of the distant shots from range so far.
Yeah, not sure about that one, because Khatun's making the great run down the left-hand side, and she's ignored that completely just to punt it goalwards. Although that is a very poor pass out from China, and Bangladesh are going to get a throw here hard at the pitch.
Yeah, Butler looked a little miffed as to why Ritu Shatmar attempted that from such a distance. Not able to find the target. Bangladesh slowing this game down early in the second half. I wonder if this is going to be a much slower tempo to their play in the second 45. Ball down the left-hand side. Held up well. Back to Shamsunahar, who's trying to deliver the ball into the box. Lays it short to Shatmar. Back through the lines. Falls back to Shatmar. Ball into the area. Flashes across the box and bounces out for a goal kick.
Not a bad ball into the box, but it just fell in between both worlds. Curling away from goal, but a bit too close to the goal for anyone to get onto it.
Absolutely. China moving now to the left-hand side. Picked off high up the field here. And Wang under pressure, just hooking it out of play. And so now Bangladesh with possession. Ball to the right-hand side. Battling away well in there is the substitute. And that's out of play for another China throw-in. China coming down the left-hand side once again. Liu throws it inside to Liu. Going down the line. Headed away well in there. Assertive once again from Khatun. Out though for another China throw. Jeremy Dalton, welcome to the stream. Sorry, missed the start. Bangladesh giving it a good go by the look of it. Absolutely. A very even first 40 minutes. Just kind of fell apart towards the end of the half. Tired quite quickly. Do have possession once again, though, which Akhtar can claim without issue. Now looking to feed to the left-hand side. Kicking it long. Gets a bit of distance on that. Header one, though, by Wang. Drops to midfield for Zhang. And back now to Zhang. Wang. Slips it through the lines. Round the corner from Liu. Touched on by Jin. A battle ensues in midfield. And it's in the back line. A little bit messy, and it's deemed offside there.
That is one problem that China are going to have to eradicate this tournament. That is their sixth offside of the game so far.
Yeah, unfortunately, AFC has some fascinating in-depth statistics, but I don't think you can actually find base statistics.
That's fun. But yeah, too many offsides in this game, and I know Bangladesh are playing a really high line and are being aggressive and jumping up together and nailing it, but too many offsides.
Yeah, ball carried through the line, a little bit clumsy there from Kandakar, and the back line does get away with it. I finally found the statistics I was looking for. Yeah, 63% possession, offsides, that is 7.
Wow.
For China. I mean, that is fairly...
That's a lot.
Yeah, fairly large amount.
That's one every 7 minutes at the moment. That's too many offsides. And obviously, 2 of them have been goal scoring. I know were goals or the goal scoring opportunities.
Yeah. The dual success rate, by the way, very interesting. 60% for China on ground duels, 92% on aerial duels.
Wow.
Bangladesh have won just 8% of aerial duels. I think that just shows the physical mismatch.
Yeah.
Bangladesh just cannot compete in the air because they are significantly shorter
Yeah.
than this China team.
92. Yeah. And with stats like that, you're always going to be on top in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But possessions, I think the possessions, does show that Bangladesh have been on the ball.
Yeah, I mean 63% to 37%.
I mean, the Philippines had 12%. So yeah.
Exactly. They've come. I think it shows the intention they've come here to play.
Yeah.
Even if it hasn't quite come off for them at times, and I think China have grown into this game. It's not been one-way traffic or anything to that effect.
But also, if they play like this against North Korea, they'll give them a good game. If they play this against Uzbekistan, they should win that.
Ball played over the top, held up well. Slipped through the lines now by Zhang. Wang Shuang plays it across the back line. Dealt with well, though, by Bangladesh. An actor pouncing on the ball quickly.
Again, really, I'd say the standard of goalkeeping as well at this tournament has been really strong to see so far. But, well, yeah, the majority of the games.
Ball out to the left-hand side. British trying to come forwards. China, one back well in there, though. They do turn the ball over quickly. Warugamula picked off high at the pitch again. Neither side can actually hold on to the ball at the moment, and it is now Bangladesh coming forward. Shamsunahar trying to drag that ball forwards. Kicked out of play, though, well by Zhang. So that will be a throw-in on this near side for Bangladesh.
Yeah, again, they've progressed it nicely. Actually, the one thing they've done really well is the distance on clearances as well. We see a lot of sides can get bogged down sometimes just because they simply can't clear the ball more than 10 yards in front of them. But Bangladesh done really well to get the ball out their half at every opportunity.
Wu knocking that out of play, and it will be a China throw-in. Or Bangladesh throw-in, sorry, on this near side. Peter Butler barking orders and another change, coming. That makes it 3 subs out of 5 used now by Bangladesh, and it's a change in the backline, I believe. Khatoon has been withdrawn. And in her place, it is Sapna Rani.
I can't imagine that doesn't feel planned to me, because that seems very early.
Yeah, I guess it's just trying to have an impact immediately, but I just feel it's going to hurt their chances of keeping this game alive and prolonging, really, this football match.
Yeah, I don't think that might not have been planned change.
Held up well here. Ball slipped in, looking for Wang Shuang. But again, well dealt with by the Bangladesh defence. And Akhtar now slowing the game down, waiting for the press, and can pick up the ball. As China look to move it to the left-hand side.
I'd say Bangladesh have found a nice balance so far in this second half of still trying to be on the front foot and try and cause China problems while also taking pace out of the game. They're not slowing it down so much that they're just constantly under pressure, but they're not running at 100 miles an hour that they're going to burn out again.
Ball around the corner. Here's Shamsunahar carrying it forwards. Not out of play well by Zhang. Bangladesh again with the throw-in. Shamsunahar nodded on. It's cleared away by Wu. Put down in midfield now by the substitute Rani. That's cleared into her. Here's Shakmar, pokes it through the lines. Needs some support here. Khatoon does knock it backwards. Manda feeding the left-hand side. Can't quite make it work though, Shakmar. And China recover the possession. Chen. China hasn't had loads to do, and she has been called into action, though, has been able to make the saves. I
Yeah.
don't think Bangladesh have tested enough, though. It's a great stop early on to deny Ritu Shatmar from range. Apart from that, though, the shots have been fairly tame.
Yeah.
Shamsunahar can't quite make that work. They do work the touchline, though. So Bangladesh can carry it up the line. And again, if they get a goal in this game, I think that shifts the complexion of it.
Yeah.
Ball looped forwards, headed away by Wu. Pounced on now, Wu clears. Shot now from range, and, well, that one, the most tame of all the efforts.
Yeah. The shots from range are getting progressively worse.
Yeah.
And I think the first couple, I can understand why they went for them, but now they just seem to be shooting from range when it's not really the right decision.
Ball carried forward. Shamsunahar couldn't quite pull it off. One high up the pitch here now by Bangladesh, though. Shamsunahar. Shatmar does well. Manda losing out in there. And now they'll look to move it to the left-hand side. China poked on well by Wang Afang. Here's Wang Shuang. Carrying the ball forwards. Plays it inside and doesn't quite come off there. Warigamula just can't quite make it stick. China, though, do win it back quite quickly. Wu across to Wang. Through the lines. Rugamula. Wang Shuang just can't quite knock it down the line. And find a teammate. Back in the possession of Bangladesh then. Stick up towards the hour mark. Ball down the line. Doesn't quite come off again. Wang Shuang intercepting. Better let off really for Akther. As it's a Bangladesh throw. Goes down the line. In midfield now with Zhang. It's one back quickly. And that's a bit of a loose ball. An opportunity here, but good goalkeeping from Akther just to get out and clear that away.
Yeah, again, really sharp off our line to spare her teammates flashes.
Kisco just didn't put anywhere near enough on that pass back.
Nah.
Shot now from range, and well, mentioning tame and wild efforts a moment ago, that the wildest we've seen in this match.
Yeah, that'll be a welcome shot from Bangladesh.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, we're over 10 minutes through now in this second half, and they've done well to get back to where they were. They're competing once again, and it's been a very even start to this second 45 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think we're just seeing China start to control this game a little bit better. 15 shots to 5. It's not outrageously, dominant, but it is significantly stronger. 7 shots on target to 2. Wang Shuang goes back into Wu. Now trying to carry it forwards. Wang Shuang, tidy work. Cleared away, and there is a foul there from Wang Shuang. Just nudging a player off the ball. Can Bangladesh? I mean, if they get a goal, do they start to believe?
Maybe.
They've got a free kick here. And over this is the substitute Akther. Puts it into the area, nodded on and nodded wide. Just didn't quite come off there for Shamsunahar. And well, I think both players, they're feeling the consequences of that. Wu and Shamsunahar going up for the header. I think just making contact. Yeah, in the air. Did also touch the ball and nodded it wide. Ball long now. Great work from Jae Mi, who competes well. Kisco is strong, and she conceded a penalty. It's a strong challenge in the penalty area. And I think it's been given as a goal kick. Ji Mi, not happy.
So first one, she just about gets the ball. Second
I
one...
think she gets the ball. That's a terrible angle.
Yeah.
Admittedly.
I love it. They were both frustrated at that decision.
Yeah.
Because
It's a corner. I'd rather give away the penalty.
Yeah.
This height difference is just gives China such a strength on corners. At least it should do. Wang Shuang delivers it in towards the front post, nodded across goal, and can't quite turn it home there, China. Here's Zhang. Great work from Ryu Zhang, trying to create the angle for this cross. It's dealt with well in there by Irani, but that will be a corner again for China, or has it been given as a goal kick? Not sure on that one.
I think it's a corner.
Yeah, surely must be.
Yeah.
Zhang just didn't look particularly happy in the aftermath.
Just, again, the box defending it's becoming a little bit scrappy.
Corner will be delayed for a moment. I think the referee just taking a moment. So a corner again, this time from the right-hand side. Delivered into a dangerous area. Wu can't quite get there. Falls out for Wang Shuang. A wild attempt at goal, that one, from the Chinese talisman.
Yeah. Held her quite nicely. And a player of her quality, a ball falling like that, her eyes should light up and just look to volley it across into the far corner and got it all wrong. And that's gone sailing over the bar.
Yeah, indeed. Shakma will be forced backwards here. Great pressure from Zhang to turn it over. Ji Song Mei puts it into the box. Dealt with well by Shamsanaha, but that will be another corner.
Good spell, this.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that unrelenting pressure, really, from China. And you feel that they've got to get it in eventually.
Yeah. Bangladesh are just struggling to contain them at the moment.
So a corner again. This time it is Zhang over it, headed onto the near post. A good claim there from Akhtar, and there's a bit of a foul on the goalkeeper there, at least she claims so, but it didn't affect her ability to claim that ball.
Yeah, again, does well. Shrugs off the challenge, gets two hands up to it and claims it. No fumble involved this time.
Talina says, will China score 6 goals? I'd be very surprised if they did now. I think Bangladesh should put up far too good an effort, but if they score soon and really start to impose their superiority, then potentially, but I just don't see that happening. And I think even though China have been more dominant in the second half, Bangladesh aren't completely out of this game, and they have lowered the intensity, which I think is making it a bit more manageable.
Yeah.
Changes coming now for China. It's a double substitution. Zhang and Tang coming on to the field. So first a change in midfield, I believe. As we see, a double change. Wang Shuang is withdrawn, as is Liu Jing. So yeah, change to the front line. Tang will come on for Wang Shuang in attack. And in midfield, Liu Jing replaced by Zhang Xin.
Yeah, just shuffling the pack, resting up and rotating through the side now, China. Exactly what they need to do to make sure that they are at 110% for each and every game.
Pulling behind with Shatmar, put pressure on. Good goalkeeping though from Chem. Just came out and headed it. Ball down the line from Shamsanaha. Touch around the corner there from Rani, who does do well there to win a throw-in. And one of the Bangladesh midfielders lost their boot. Shakma, I think it is. Throw-in short, and that doesn't quite come off between Shamsanaha and Shakma.
Yeah. I mean, it was a foul throw anyway. But trying to get the ball, doesn't matter.
Ball round the corner. High press here from China, turns it over, cleared away well though by Kandaka, and now it's back with Chen Chen. And building out from the back. I think it's better of it. I think they're just going to go long here, China, and just look to use their physical advantage. No one wins the aerial duel, and the second one is then won by Zhang Jin. Out towards the right-hand side now with Zhang the fullback carrying it well. Tries to take on Shakmar, ball into the box. Kandakar acts first and clears it away. Great win in midfield again, though. This time it's Shizong Mi. Switching the play and an opportunity now again for China. Tang cuts inside. It's blocked away. Drops on the edge of the box. And a shot now towards the near post. Wide of the mark, though. Not bad at all from Shizong Mi. Just couldn't quite find the back of the net.
Yeah, another good move from China. And again, they're having a lot more joy. Spaces are opening up and they're moving it really nicely. But that shot just dragged wide of the near post. And again, Akhtar is down here holding her knee for the second time in this game.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's suspiciously similar time frame as well. 20 minutes into the second half. I mean, she's one hell of an actress, just like completely falls to the floor. Normally, it's just like, oh, my ankle's hurt or something. You can tell she just falls to the floor.
Yeah.
Like, lies completely flat. And so we tick into the 66th minute. I think there's a lot of positives to take from this performance from Bangladesh. They may not realise them in this tournament. They may not, kick on and find those results. I believe they will get results. So I think that Uzbekistan game, potentially even the North Korea game, they could pull something off. But I think what is really important is that they're building towards something. They've got a side here who evidently aren't ready yet to be anywhere near the sharp end. But there's a lot of players in this team are teenagers. A lot of players around 20, 21 years old.
Yeah.
The oldest player in the starting 11 is 24. That is a big, that's a huge difference to a lot of the teams in this tournament. A lot of experienced sides. Look at Australia, majority of their players were 30 plus. Look at this China team, majority of their players are in around their 30s. Look at the Japan team, a lot of players there who are sort of mid-20s, early 30s. So they're one of the youngest teams, if not the youngest team at this tournament. There's a long future of this Bangladesh national team. This is just the start. And yeah, I think they'll be a little frustrated by how this game's panned out, but their performance has been really strong, and they'll be hoping this doesn't get silly in the last half an hour or last 20 minutes. China coming forwards now. Deft flick over the top. Cleared away by Kisku. Shamsudahar can't clear her lines. Chance now for Zhang, who fires one off, and a great stop from Akhtar.
Yeah, it does really well. Strong hand from Akhtar to tip that one over the bar. Again, China turning the ball over, pinning Bangladesh in their own penalty area, and it's a really nice effort towards goal. But Zhang denied by a great save from Akhtar. Yes, that's a strong hand to get enough on it to tip it over the bar. Does really well there. Another really good save.
Indeed. And a corner again for China. Will allow them to keep the pressure on, and it's going to be Zhang over this substitute. What can they create from this kind of position? Ball in towards the back post. Akhtar stepped up to try and make a claim in the box. Had to jump backwards there, but does do really well to claim it.
Yeah, well adjusted. Because misjudged it initially, but did well to recover. But yeah, been a very different half to the first half. Bangladesh being a lot deeper and absorbing a lot more pressure, but similarly, they haven't conceded.
Yeah, I wonder if they may look to play this way against North Korea and then play the way they did in the first half against Uzbekistan, where they were much more open, where they were much more transitional and attacking, actually, in their style. But yeah, I think as well, Akhtar with another great save there has been such a big part of this. I mean, we remember the discussions around 2015 World Cup, 2019 World Cup, where there were a lot of teams and the goalkeeping standard of women's football was rather low. I think that's what put a lot of people off. what we're seeing now is goalkeepers like Akhtar coming through, who is, I believe, 21 years old, 22 years old, already looks really comfortable, really confident. I think her claiming on crosses, her big saves have been really strong. 19 years old, Mila Akhtar has only ever played, I believe, in the Bangladesh divisions. Again, football has no information on her domestic football. Out towards the left-hand side, Bangladesh try and knock it inside. They compete in midfield, but ultimately it is China come away with the ball, looking to switch the play. Fed through the lines, one high up the pitch here by Bangladesh.
I think it'll be a bit frustrating, that at least for the viewers, that they decided to go defensive and then bring Katoon on.
Here's Zhang and dragging that shot wide. Yeah, it's a curiosity as to why they didn't start this game with Tahura Katoon. I think Marvin did a really good job up there. I think the pressing was strong, but in terms of outlet, in terms of someone that they could target, in terms of someone who they could get into goal scoring positions, I think it would have been smart to start with Katoon. And if you're going to play that more aggressive style from the off, if you're going to sit defensive and then go attacking, absolutely the right decision to bring Katoon on later in the game. But I just think it's a bit of a waste to leave her on the sidelines when they were trying to compete in this game, and then when they go behind, throw her on there when actually they've dropped quite deep now.
Yeah.
Ball thread through the lines, and Akhtar able to come out and collect.
Yeah, again, 25 minutes through this second half, and they've kept it at 2-0, done a very, very good job. 19 minutes to go. Can they get a goal? I think, as you say, goal difference is also quite crucial. And also for confidence as well. They can walk off this pitch, 2-0, with a 2-0, 2-1 loss. That's going to do a lot more, for the camp than walking off this pitch having lost, 3-4 now.
Indeed. China moving the ball round the back out towards the right-hand side. Poor pass, though, from Chen Chen, who has had a few of those today, building out from the back. Just some misplaced passes. Obviously trying to bed in Ante Milicic's style. I mean, ultimately, this game hasn't been too much of that. It's been a lot of using their physicality, a lot of moving the ball very quickly, heading it over the top, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I still think they've been... we've seen moments where they've tried to implement that style and it just hasn't quite come off. But you can see a clear indication. Wang Shuang just getting some treatment there to her foot. Hopefully they'll be hoping that's nothing serious going forward in this tournament. Shamsunahar carries it to the left-hand side. Ball now into the area, or bounce through, and they try and make it work at the back post. Shamsunahar Jr. can't quite get there. Ball to the right-hand side. Zhang touches down the line. And back home from Kisku. Ball fed through the lines. Shakmar. Brought down brilliantly in there by Shakmar. Shamsunahar. Shakmar. Back inside to Manda. Bangladesh move from left to right. Really nice possession play. Now up to 40% now in this game in terms of possession. That's much closer to parity than what we've seen in any of the other Asian Cup fixtures, I believe. Loving the support as well in the live chat from the Bangladesh fans, even at 2 goals down, still believing in their side, still proud of their achievements in this game. Shamsunar's cross blocked well in there by Liu, who picked up that early yellow card. Hasn't had too much to do since then. Blocking that cross so well, though, and it will now be a chance for Bangladesh from this corner.
Yeah, I feel like they could have used that more. Liu being on a yellow card, get players running at her, try and force her to commit another foul, and suddenly you've got a player advantage.
That's the first time really we've seen in this game since that yellow card that they've got Shamsunahar down the right hand side. A lot has come down the left, understandably with 3-2 Shakmar, but ball into the box on top of the goalkeeper and under little pressure. A comfortable claim for Chen.
Yeah, a bit of a collision at the far post. Not sure there's too much in it though. But yeah, corners haven't really been their strong point. I wasn't expecting them to. I think that's been another problem. Is that when you are the underdog in these kind of games, you can really use set pieces to your advantage. But with the lack of advantage in the air for Bangladesh, it has made it difficult to try and use any of their set pieces.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. They are not going to win a header. They've barely won a header today.
Yeah.
Against China. Great pressure, and then slightly over the line from Ji Zongmi.
I mean, that was closer to rugby than it was to football.
Exactly. And the referees stopped the game here for something, is it?
Are they having a look at that?
They are going to check. They are going to check a penalty here for Bangladesh. I mean, Peter Butler was adamant.
Just saw it out the corner of my eye.
And we'll have a look now on the VAR. So what happens is at the back post?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the player makes the run past her. I think it's
the argument's going to be
and a half.
In no world is she really going to challenge for the ball, is my only thought.
But that's Lee Yu-Tung, who's already on a yellow card, and just pulls her back by the neck. I completely get your argument, but she drags her down there.
If it's given, it's a penalty and a second yellow card, which could get very interesting in the final 15 minutes. This is massive.
This could be a lifeline for Bangladesh in this game.
It's really difficult to. I mean, they've only got one angle. It's really difficult to determine what happens here.
What decision have they come to? The referee reappears, and the decision is going to be. She wants the football. No penalty. Pointing over to the sideline. Not 100% sure what the referee was indicating there. Milicic isn't happy. Butler isn't happy. Change is coming for China. So I guess the argument is either there's not enough contact there for it to be a penalty, or she's never going to get to the ball. But yeah,
it's a let off.
That is a bit of a let off again.
And Leo's just been replaced immediately.
Yeah, they've
I have to say though,
swiftly removed her from the game.
Referee can't need to signal that there was no penalty there, rather than just walk back on the pitch and go, "Give me the ball, please."
Yeah, that's what I was confused about. I don't know what that sign was, and I realised can you just throw me the ball? I'm going to take the penalty. Ball to the right-hand side. Here comes Bangladesh. Katoon. Back to Rani, just brilliantly there to wriggle her way through the China midfield and can take aim from range and just wide of the mark. One of these goes in. It's going to be incredible.
I don't mind that. She had a lot of space there and a lot of time to make sure she kept it down. She did keep it down. Again, just wide of the mark. But yeah, there's a lot of room there. I don't mind her taking that one on. Again, though, just
probably want to go across goal, though, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
I think that drill to the front post is always going to be difficult to creep in there, especially with Chen being a very competent goalkeeper. Chen launches forwards. Had a contested well this time by Bangladesh, and they do win it high up the pitch. Here's Manda who goes from range, and that's not quite as in smart a decision.
Yeah. There's been a few of those. Some of the shots from range have been the right idea, and they've done well for taking them on. The others have just been a little bit rushed, and I'm not really sure why they're trying their luck from so far out.
No, it's been. They're up to. They've had quite a few shots in this game. I make that 8th in this match, but only 2 on target. China, meanwhile, 22 shots, 9 on target.
Yeah, that's in compared to China, it looks pretty dominant, but 8 shots is pretty decent.
Ball into the box now, and not a bad delivery from Zhang, but it will trickle out for a Bangladesh goal kick. They keep this at 2-0. I think they've done remarkably well against the reigning champions. Better result than either Uzbekistan or Iran managed over the last 2 days.
Yeah.
And I think, they're not competing with China or North Korea, really, at this Asian Cup. They're competing with Uzbekistan. And if they lose by less in these other matches and then beat Uzbekistan in that head-to-head game, then I think there's every chance that they could progress.
Yeah.
Carry down the left-hand side, looking for Ji Zongmei. Knocked out of play, though, by can occur.
I have to say, 9 shots on target for China, 2 goals, just shows the brilliant job that Akhtar has done in that Bangladesh net.
I also think it shows the brilliant job that the entire defence done, though, because they're not letting them shoot from brilliant angles. Like,
Yeah.
China are obviously a very strong team, so their shooting's been accurate, but they're shooting from positions which aren't entirely comfortable. A lot of the time, especially in the first half, they really effectively shuffled the China attackers into wide areas, so they're shooting and they're hitting the target. But it's such a narrow angle; it makes it more, much easier for the goalkeeper. But I agree. I think Akhtar's had a fantastic game. There's been a number of real show-stopping saves.
Yeah.
And she'll have a really strong highlights reel if she keeps up like this at the tournament. Zhang Jin over this corner. That will be delayed for a moment, though. So referee has to sort out some pushing and shoving in the box. Shao Zakin, one of the substitutes there, towering over the Bangladesh defenders. Can she find a route to goal? It's put on top of the goal. It hits the crossbar and bounces away. China looking to rework it here. Shamsunha goes to ground, makes a good challenge. Shakmar in there as well, and that rolls out of play. And here is Shikin. And that is left for Zhang, who's going to try and find someone in the box. Throw goes short in the end. The touch isn't great. Shamsunha could have left that. She's using a safe option of launching it out for another throw.
Yeah, again, really good stuff. Been another, with now 35 minutes through this second half. If they can get off this pitch, having only lost 2-0, drawing the second half 0-0, that's a brilliant shift from Bangladesh. And as you say, they'll be focusing on that Uzbekistan game. They'll be hoping to just put up a similar defensive performance against North Korea.
Yeah, indeed. Ball round the corner, cleared away well. Out to the right-hand side. Ball lifted forwards now into Ji Zongmi, out towards the left-hand side. The overlapping run now of Kuiju in towards the box. On top, though, of the goal, an inaccurate cross.
Yeah. A bit of cut of those for China. And I do think that quality in the final third will be something that they want to address because, yes, they've scored 2 goals today, but there's been a lot of poor play. Or just overplaying sometimes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Ball poked forwards, and that is returned to Chen, who lifts it long, headed away. Lump now over the top, and I think she's gone too early there. Has Xiaozikin. She'll take the shot on. It misses anyway. Tipped onto the post, and, well, whoever's operating the celebratory cannons behind the goal isn't aware of the point scoring system. There aren't any goals awarded for hitting the post.
Brilliant. What a moment. She's offside. To be fair, she might have actually been tighter. And that's the only one that the assistant referee didn't delay the flag on.
And it's tipped onto the post really well there by Akhtar. Now we're getting edgy camera angle.
Another. We're getting all. There we go. Return to normality.
Slight knock here for Shamsunha. I think our boots struggling to handle the physicality of this game. And there is now an injury for another Bangladesh player. Here goes to ground. And I think that was Ritu Shakmar. And it's either a face injury or the physio is trying to smother. Like,
just putting the big barrel just on her head, just flat on her face.
It's Akhtar, the substitute.
Did she get caught? I don't think she did. I thought she just went down off the ball. Maybe she's a bit warm.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it's incredibly hot.
Yeah.
In Australia. It's one of the big concerns coming into this tournament. They've brought the stretcher out. This does seem quite concerning.
Yeah.
So what did happen? Went up for the header. Just the way she lands as well, and then gets caught by the flailing boot there of Zhang.
Oh, so she did get up initially, and then she went.
It's back up. So this would be a concern, I guess, for concussion.
I think the stretcher was a bit premature.
Yeah, I mean, they got that out before they'd even.
Yeah, now they're going off again.
Really, yeah.
That's it.
I mean, I'd rather the stretcher guys be too early than too late.
Yeah,
but that was quite.
I think it might be a nosebleed, actually.
Yeah, it's a quite heavy collision, and then gets caught, I think, in the back of the head. So, yeah, I mean, they may just take her off here out of a precaution, the substitute.
I'm not really sure why the instant response was just to put a bag of ice on her head.
On her face?
Yeah, it's a nosebleed. I'm not really
gonna smother her with ice.
We're back playing.
That seems to be their cure, though, for everything.
Ice.
Whatever injury you have, we've just got one big bag of ice, fall over the top. I rate it, though.
Yeah, it's like new.
It's just peas.
The modern magic sponge.
Yeah. Bag of frozen peas.
Can Bangladesh get a goal? I feel like that penalty shout was their chance, because that would have given them a goal and a player advantage.
Yeah. And then suddenly you're looking at a very different complexion for the last 15 minutes of this contest. But it's just petering out to a fairly comfortable win for China in the grand scheme of things. But I think, I think Bangladesh are really happy with what they've managed to do. Another change then for Bangladesh, and there was a little concern a moment ago for Shamsunahar, and she will now be withdrawn. There were some glimpses of what she's able to do. Nothing consistent. They haven't really been able to get her into this game. Anika on into the front line. So this may change the look of that front line a little bit then. As they're coming forwards now, Bangladesh. Here is Tahura Khatoon, who's going to slip it to the left-hand side. Opportunity now for the underdogs to strike. Played short into Khatoon, and that looks to be offside. I will continue though. Ritu Shakmar had gone too early, and the flag will follow.
Yeah, I think that both players have got to realise that that she was always going to be offside.
Yeah, I think that's
Khatoon there. That's not when they played the pass though. She was offside. They paused it at a terrible point.
I don't think the run from Shakmar was the problem.
No.
If Tuna played that ball back immediately, that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
But just you don't have that margin in there. And I think if she had played that immediately, probably would have struggled to get the pace of the ball right. Another player down here for Bangladesh has been very stop-start at the end of this game. You'd imagine a fairly lengthy period of additional time, but I'm not really sure it's necessary.
Bag of ice back out.
And it is... not sure who's down here. It's Shamsunahar as well. Not the one who's just been substituted, the left back. I'm also not sure if their names are Shamsunahar 1 and Shamsunahar 2, or if they just needed to put numbers to differentiate them on the AFC, but
that was quite cool that they were.
Shamsunahar the first and Shamsunahar the second, but yeah. Either way, Shamsunahar now off to the sideline.
Yeah, I think
receive some treatment.
I think we'll be in for a lengthy additional time. So we had another VAR check in there as well.
Yeah,
lots of injuries for Bangladesh. That is probably will be the major concern.
Physio's earning their paycheck, balling behind. Zhang tries to get there. Brave going from Akhtar. I think gets caught in the face there. And that is unfortunate because Zhang's just gone flying in. Akhtar with brave goalkeeping. I think it's just been caught across the face.
Yeah. I mean, VAR will have a look at it probably. I mean, but let's have a look.
Not sure how much contact they actually make there.
I was going to say, I'm not. This could be a better angle, hopefully. No. Oh, maybe caught on the way through.
That trailing leg comes through potentially.
No, I don't personally see it, to be honest.
Oh, the ice pack's back out.
There's no way that ice is still cold. Yeah, that bloke has one bag and all he's got in it is ice.
I've not seen them do anything else.
Yeah, I don't see that personally. I'm not really sure where the contact was. I mean, it all could have been avoided with the flag going up because she was offside
To be
anyway.
fair, if it's a cut, I don't really see what the ice is doing. That's what I don't
I
get.
mean, they put ice on a nosebleed a minute
Like,
ago.
if there's no cut, then I guess it may just be a bruise, and they want to reduce the swelling with the ice. But you'd think if there's contact with the boot, it's gonna be a cut, and there's no cut.
There wasn't. I didn't see any contact.
No, I don't think there's much contact. I think they're just slowing this game down. But
I don't get because it's just gonna get added on. I
Yeah.
don't know what they're trying to do here.
that ice pack, it could cure anything.
You've got a problem. Ice.
I'm gonna go see if we can put it on my hand.
Yeah.
Instantly cured.
I think it is going to play against them because as they're tiring, I mean, I'd expect to get quite a lot. Let's see how many minutes we get.
They maybe think that the referee's just going to be smart and knock a couple off for the fact that it is 2-0 and that it's going to be 8 minutes of additional time, so probably evidently not. Ball lifted forward to the right-hand side. And a great block in there for the recovering Shamsunahar.
Yeah, I mean, they're slowing the game down and then there's just taking the mick a little bit. Because I get a couple of them have been genuine, and I get they are probably struggling with the combativeness of the game, but there have been a lot of injury pauses.
Yeah, there have been quite a few stoppages in this match.
I mean, China aren't really bothered anymore either.
Ball into the box, header just wide, and China looking to cap off this game with another goal, but Tang unable to find the target.
Well, there's only 4 players in the box, but they still managed to pick one out.
They don't need them, do they?
Yeah.
Like, you need one. They're going to win the header.
Yeah.
Ball forwards from Actor out towards the left-hand side, picked off high, drops in midfield for Manda. Ball lifted forwards, one back by Manda. Nowhere to go there for Katoon, who's barrelled over. And here come China. Clipping the ball over the top. Lovely movement from Ji Zongmi. But yeah, I think, the games we've streamed so far have been the closest match. I think the Philippines did really well to nullify Australia for a lot of that game. And I think this could have been a similar case here for Bangladesh. It just ran out of steam at the end of the first half. Outside of that 2-minute spell, though, they've competed with China for the other 88 minutes.
Yeah, I'd be really intrigued to see how the second half would have played out. I mean, China may have pushed harder and may have gone on to score, but yeah, as you say, 2 minutes where they scored 2 goals. Outside of that, Bangladesh have been really, really strong.
Ball thrown long. Jikin putting it across the box. And a bit of a miscommunication there between Rani and the goalkeeper Actor, who came out to claim it and then didn't actually claim it. Ball in. Shamsunahar gets there. Rani can't get the ball away, though. And they're still coming forward here. China searching for a third.
That's the thing, they could. China may grab another 1 or 2 in additional time while Bangladesh are tiring, and that would make it look a lot more convincing than it actually has been for China. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, see how Bangladesh. There's 5 minutes to go this opening game, and they'll just hope to see this through and complete the job.
Yeah, Bangladesh now moving it to the left-hand side. Knocks it down the line, an opportunity now. Ball in from Katoon, nodded on, and that's hooked away. And a jostle for possession, and that's over the line really from Rani. Yeah, Sapnarani just over the line with that one. China carrying forwards now to the right-hand side. Wu bounces it off the midfielder. Wang. And they move it across the back line. Wang. Clipping it down the line. Searching again for Jisong Mi. Who's competing up against Kisku. Both physical in there. Ball into the area. Headed away initially. Header now from Tang. And that's a claim from Akhtar to stop the shot.
Brilliant performance from Akhtar. Again, nice. It's a comfortable claim, but she does well. She's down again. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's the third time it's gone down with that with a problem with that knee. If it's a genuine problem, she's got to come off, because 3 times now she had a problem with that knee.
I think they're just slowing it down, aren't they? If they keep this at 2-0, it gives them a great chance of getting through.
I just don't. I mean, this is exactly why they're bringing in the new rules next year, because this is absurd.
Vizier's back with his magic ice pack.
I don't think he's got anything else in that. What looks like a briefcase.
Jeremy says Bangladesh versus Uzbekistan will be interesting. Yeah, of course, that coming in match day 3 of the group stage. Next time out for Bangladesh is a game against North Korea, who were fairly dominant by all accounts this morning against Uzbekistan. 2 penalties granted helped them on their way to victory. If they're going to give away 2 penalties every game, then I think Bangladesh will have a very easy time of it.
Yeah.
Against Uzbekistan, but a hat-trick in that game, I believe, for Myung. Really impressive performance. North Korea fairly dominant. I watched the game yesterday between South Korea and Iran. I thought South Korea were very good as well. Iran, though, didn't really impress me. Struggled to find Zara Gambaro, just a little bit too deep, really. Tomorrow, yet more action. Japan taking on Chinese Taipei, and Vietnam facing India. And we're back on Thursday is Iran face Australia. As we loop back round for match day 2 of Group A. Unfortunately, Bangladesh's next game is at 2 a.m. in UK time. But
not going to be watching that one.
No, it is unlikely. Shiro says I'll likely get up early tomorrow to watch quite a bit of Japan before uni. Yeah, I want to stream Japan, but it's 5 a.m. here. And I reckon I'll just watch it back afterwards. Annoyingly, because Japan are one of the teams we're most excited to watch this tournament, and the first group game's at 5 a.m. The second group game clashes with England-Iceland on Saturday, and so the first time I watch Japan is match day 3.
Yeah,
well, they'll probably already be through. But alas, Bangladesh free kick.
Yeah, I'll be intrigued how Bangladesh do play the rest of this group stage, because they've done well. It's taken a lot of the time out of the game, but equally they are the main reason why we've seen 15 additional minutes across the 2 halves.
Yeah,
I mean that is a lot.
North Korea, the game against North Korea at 2 a.m. on Friday might still be on by the time we wake up.
Yeah.
Here's Zhang out towards the left-hand side with Guizhao. Knocks it in behind. Here's Ziquin. Can China cap off this game with a third? A late challenge in the box. Referee deems she's got the ball there, though. A frustrated call from Ziquin. And it's offside regardless.
China must be into double digits now on offsides. I mean, I do. I mean, I think it was a late challenge.
That is 8 offside. Yeah. Not quite double digits.
No.
But, fantastic angle, and the ball is also played by the Bangladesh fullback. So I'm not 100% sure on that one. Yeah, that's a poor tackle.
Oh, there's no need for VAR to look at it though.
By Akhtar.
Let's all just play on. Yeah.
So, Bangladesh looking to progress the ball out towards the right-hand side. Akhtar won't get there, headed out of play. Peter Butler bounces on possession. On the sideline, looking to get it moving quickly. Coming down the right-hand side now is Shakmar. Twisting and turning and twisting off the field of play. Back now to China. Wang Chen. That's misplaced, and a throw in half the pitch here for Bangladesh. It's right across into the 100th minute and the 107th minute of football that we've seen. I mean, we're not far off having watched an entire extra time period. Yeah. It's back now with China for a goal kick.
Well, I know they went back down again, but they weren't down for 100 seconds. The referee is being paid by the minute.
Yeah. At this game.
Yeah.
And that is the final whistle here in Sydney. China 2, Bangladesh 0. Despite it being a victory for China, you feel Bangladesh will be very happy with that performance. Ultimately, the smiles on both faces, but the smiles seem larger on the face of Watchalong and of the China national team. A 2-0 victory in this game. A brief spell of complete dominance from China in the 44th to 46th minute. Saw them score a quick fire double. Outside of that, a great contest. Bangladesh gave them a thoroughly good game, and I think Milicic and Butler sharing some words after the match seems to be in, well, I thought it would be in good spirits, seems to be in not too great spirits, but Bangladesh fought hard in this game. Ultimately, China overwhelming them with their physicality. But I think if Bangladesh put on performances like that against North Korea and Uzbekistan, there's every chance that at least against Uzbekistan, they could get something from the game. Ultimately, though, Watchalong, the difference maker, China picking up a win in their first match. And if they can continue like this at the tournament, they're going to be difficult to beat and difficult to prevent from going back to back. But I thought another thoroughly competitive game.
Yeah, fair play to Bangladesh. I don't think Milicic was very fond of the dark arts there. Would be my best guess from Peter Butler and his side. But yes, a valiant effort from Bangladesh. But at the end of the day, the better side won on the day. And China with a big 3 points to kick off their title defence.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all very much for tuning in today. An incredible turnout for this morning's stream between China and Bangladesh. If you are new to the channel and haven't yet hit that subscribe button, make sure to do so before leaving. We're live across the Women's Asian Cup, a variety of matches throughout the tournament, including most of the knockout fixtures, but as well as a lot of games across the group stage. So if you haven't subscribed yet and you're enjoying these streams, make sure to do so. We'll be back again on Thursday as Australia take on Iran in match day 2. And then I'm not sure what we're live for after that, but we'll let you know on Thursday. That was everything from us today. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.